Hello, everyone! It has been a while since we last got to see your lovely and wonderful faces, but we are back! The Goldshine Investigations once more returns to a Twitch TV near you. With the wonderful, wonderful faces I am joined by every Friday, who no doubt are just rearing and ready to introduce themselves and get into the game. But my name is Graham, or Graham Crackers. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome to the channel. I am playing Geharis Nervos Blackmont, your favorite Tiefling Paladin of the Conquest. And it is so wonderful to introduce the lovely cast. So without further ado,
Hey guys, I'm Pharaoh. I will be playing Yutaka, the Water Genasi Cleric Rogue, and I am joined by the lovely, the magnificent, the one and only lighted with bisexual colors, Davis.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Kari, and I play Israel, the half-elf Fae Pact Warlock. And I am joined by our fuzzy friend.
Hi, that's me. Hi, I'm Derek Sword. I'm playing Griaz Bramblepelt, the rogue druid bugbear hugbear. And I'm joined by the very lovely, dressed in white because he's a knight, Angel Boy.
Jeremy,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Derek. You flatter me. I'm not as gracious as my character, but hello everyone. My name is Jeremy, and I am playing Ivron Blackmont, the Oath of Devotion Asimar Paladin. And we cannot forget, for last but not least, our wonderful GM, Matt.
I am Matt, your DM. Thank you so much, Jeremy. I will be playing everyone else. I'm a house. I'm a tiefling artist with magic powers. I'm a lot of things, but first and foremost, I am your DM. Without further ado, after some time away, are we all ready to dive back into the Goldshine investigations?
Take it away, Matt.
I very well might. Get some music going. When we last left off, the party journeyed deep into the forest surrounding the small village of Ground, as they have narrowed down their suspect list pretty respectably thoroughly, and are confident that the artist possibly connected to the Children of Red Sight is the balding Cambion who has been sketching people in the streets of the village, Magasin Bete, La Prince de Villanova, who, after the party's suspecting of them became obvious, fled into the forest and managed to beat the party to a mobile castle deep within the forest, not where it's supposed to be, far away from the clearing it was originally built in. Journeying inside, the party found themselves attacked by statues, furniture, candle wax golems, and eventually Villanova themselves, who is coming peacefully, but the party has found themselves under attack by a living chandelier, which appears to have taken control of the entirety of the castle, as the castle's very walls crack and crumble, bearing down on the party as they attempt to escape. With that, we find ourselves back in the scene of battle. Most of the party has managed to get themselves out of the ballroom. Israel, with Villanova in tow, astride Griaz, the horse crimes, fantasy FBI's most wanted horse, making their way down the hallway. As everyone starts making their way to escape, we ended off, I believe, at the top of the round. So it is the chandelier's turn. But caught within the veil of darkness, they do not have an immediately obvious way to see what's going on around them. So with that being said, also, if the battle map is on screen, I'll say those of you up at the top here are already out effectively. This is just representing that's where the door is. So at the moment, Utaka, Averon, and Gaharis, I believe, are the only ones who have yet to exit the ballroom. That being said, the chandelier is going to. Here, let me switch the darkness to map layer, just so I can select tokens freely. Chandelier's going to move this way, and as all of you can hear the chains rattling as the chandelier begins to swing once again. Sorry, making some rolls. Does that ability recharge? It doesn't. So that is a hit and a miss, I believe. Yep. The chandelier, through some unnatural sense of its surroundings, given that it appears to be possessing the entirety of the house, possibly it can feel your very feet upon the flooring, swings towards you in the darkness, Avron. In the darkness, you can't see anything, but you can just hear the rattling of chains and tinkling of shattered glass crystals as you manage to dodge out of the way of the first swing. But Gaharis and Utaka, you can actually briefly see it swing out of the darkness before swinging back like a mighty pendulum. And Ivron, this time it impacts you directly. You take, get my appropriate dice here. 29 bludgeoning damage as the chandelier smashes into you full force. And all of you can hear this mighty roar mixed with the sound of crunching glass and crystal as the chandelier continues to deform, as the candles atop it begin to burn, creating this mighty smokestack as smoke begins to pool and collect at the top roof of the ballroom. However, that is the end of the chandelier's turn. The pillars, this pillar can reach, but it's in the pillar of darkness, so it cannot see you. Let me double check to make sure it doesn't also have blind sight. Actually it does. So Gaharis, the pillar is going to take a swing at you, and that is a hit. Yeah, hit. Gaharis, sheltering, I believe you can see in the darkness, can't you?
No.
Oh, you don't have double sight? Okay.
No, I am a paladin. I don't have that.
Yeah, not even a tiefling, a champion gets
Nope.
that.
Okay.
Just dark vision. Just
Not
the
even
regular
with my
kind.
own spell.
I can see in the dark. In the darkness.
Okay. Okay, just wanted to make sure. So I wanted, Garrus, about half of the pillar is hidden in the darkness cloud you created, and it seems, yeah, you are outside of it. But as you keep your weapons raised, the bony hands of the pillar reach out and manage to get a grip on you. And as they pull and claw, tearing and smashing and bludgeoning at your armor, you take 28 bludgeoning damage. And as the you manage to pull yourself free as the arms continue to reach out and smash and grab at you. However, that is the end of the monster's turn, and I have Utaka's initiative note on my end, so I believe, yep, Averon, you are up. The chandelier is just smashed into you, and from the looks of it, it appears to have some way of knowing your location despite the darkness. What would you like to do?
We're counting Ivran as being in the darkness, right?
Yeah.
All right. Then he is, if he could tell where that swing kind of came from based on the pain, whichever side it was. He's gonna go in the opposite direction,
Easy enough
or
to do.
try to.
Yep. Do you want to disengage or?
Yeah, he's gonna disengage and just try to move out of the way
Okay.
to get a better sight.
Easy enough to do. All right. You disengage and start moving out of the range. You can move your token wherever direction you like.
I think he's just gonna feet out of the darkness and move as close to the door as he can. I think he'd be probably closer to Utaka at this point.
Yeah, you are.
And at the end of my last turn, you would find as you exit the darkness that Utaka is holding his hand out, waiting for you. He's like trying to pull you up onto the spider.
Right. You have enough movement. You can absolutely get astride the spider if you wish.
Ivron's actually flying at this moment, so I don't think he'll grab your hand, but I don't think he'll jump on the spider.
Aw.
He does look surprised though, and is very, very grateful. But yeah, so I think that's just going to be his turn, considering he can't see anything or hit anything.
Okay. All right. So feel free to move wherever you like. In that case, that's the end of your turn. Harris, you're up with Israel on deck. You both technically have the same initiative, so you can go whenever order you like. But again, Israel, you're outside in the hallway, so if you have something specific in mind, you can do it. But I'm going to say if you guys manage to get out of the ballroom, we'll have exited combat in the traditional sense. So
exactly. I'm just waiting to get within, I think, eyesight of the doors. So
okay.
Whatever I can do can wait until you can verify to me I'm within eyesight of the doors, and then I'm just gonna blast at them to blast them open. Like that's all I'm planning to do.
Easy enough to do. All right, in that case, Harris, you're up.
That's fair. I am going to cast, let's see, Shield of Faith on myself as a bonus action.
Okay.
My AC is now 22 for the next 10
Noted.
minutes, or until concentration is broke. And then for my action, I am going to disengage and then move 30 feet right out of the room.
All right. Harris, as you cast your Shield of Faith on yourself, you start booking it out of the room as your allies all seem intent on joining in this retreat. That the end of your turn?
Yep. It was just not letting it hit me and leaving.
All right. Griaz, if there's anything specific you'd like to do, or are you just going to help Israel get closer to the door and just keep running?
He's a horse. He's booking it.
All right.
The horse has the same idea. We're going.
Yeah, we're running. All right. And finally, assuming you can make it out of the room in one piece, Utaka, you're up.
I would love to try to make it out of the room in one piece. That'd be great. I would like a wisdom saving throw from the house.
Okay. House saving throw. That's fun. That didn't roll super great. Let's see if the ability score saves it. What's the AC?
The DC is 15 wisdom.
It meets it just barely. Literally a by one difference. Yeah, wisdom is not the house's greatest stat, I'll freely admit.
That's okay. Well, still, as Utaka's like kind of like clinging to the spider, and it's like scampering, because he I think by necessity would have to kind of pull his hand away from Ivron, because there's some momentum going on with this spider.
Yeah, fair enough.
But he kind of like covers his head and like screeches the word "stop" at the house, which would be a command, but it fails. So,
okay. All right.
So that is the action, and then the giant spider will try and take them directly like through the center of this doorway out.
Right. Yeah, which it can absolutely do. No opportunity attack to be concerned about as long as you stay in the middle there. Yao is going to accompany Ivron on the way out. So you guys have made it out of the ballroom. Harris, how long does your cloud of darkness last?
A great question. Cloud of darkness. It is innate, so it doesn't. Oh, Yeah, so I would have dropped it, seeing that this thing didn't see anything, or
Okay.
kept hitting me.
Right.
Once we get out of the room, it wouldn't have mattered.
Okay, I was just checking.
Yeah, I know the spell, if it was casting a regular spell, it would be concentration. I'm not sure
Yeah, but
because it's an innate ability.
Yeah, so...
But either way, it would have gone away with the spell cast on my last turn.
Okay. In that case, as you all start making your way out of the room, this unusual smorgasbord, Griaz in your long-legged horse form carrying Villanova and Israel on your back, Israel preparing an arcane eldritch bolt to blow open the balcony doors, Geharis bleeding and your armor cracked in several places running, Utaka astride your giant spider screaming, the spider itself covered in shrapnel and blood, and Ivron flying equally bruised and battered yourself, as you all can hear that same broken crystal screeching roar of the chandelier as it appears to know very well that you have all exited. As you all make it out into the hallway, the rug beneath your feet begins to twist and turn and pull, almost trying to trip you. The walls crack and begin to open like fissures as bony hands claw at the wood, pulling out splinters, almost trying to pull splinters free and throw them as you pass by. You can see a crack beginning to form in the rooftop, almost tracing your path, as if a glacier above you is beginning to crack and crumble. And the whole building begins to shake violently, and Griaz, you almost lose your footing, stumbling a little bit before continuing your gallop, as another roar shakes the building. As you all slide into the hallway, you can see down the stairs you had ascended, where the sergeant you had left behind, Thomas Orlane, you can see him kind of halfway through assembling one of the suits of armor, but currently his progress has been halted as the rug that had been pulling and twisting at your feet is currently wrapped around his head and pulling him to the floor as he struggles and tries to pull at it. The balcony door that you were preparing to shoot open, Israel, is actually opening and shutting rapidly, almost like gusts of wind blowing it open as it rattles and shakes before slamming shut again. And as you guys pull into view, you can see it slams shut so violently a crack actually runs up the glass.
Oh yeah, so she's still going to blast them, but she will hold it until they shut and do that thing so she can basically blast them off their hinges. So that I can stop doing that nonsense.
I'll say, go ahead and make me an attack roll for fun.
I'm going to use my last crit.
Oh, okay. Go ahead and roll for damage, because you are attacking the house.
Exactly. Guess so.
What spell would you like to cast?
All right, so that is a 24 force damage.
Noted. And DC for your thing, Geharis? DC 15. All right.
Yeah, so
24.
DC 15 for
force damage.
Command.
Okay. All right. Again, it succeeds, but just barely.
Graham, you're muted on Twitch.
Yeah, I know. I caught myself right at the end.
It just barely succeeds the wisdom save.
Okay. Then I guess I will physically try and pull this guy out.
All right, and so as you guys start to make your way down the stairs, Israel, you pull back your this strange, but in its own way, very intimidating visual of a horse cavalry archer. You pull back your arcane bolt, and you do manage to blast them clean from their hinges. They actually fly off the balcony, and you can see them go over the side and presumably out into the forest or the snow below. And you can hear another roar from the house itself, and you can hear the rapid unfurling of chains coming loose in the ballroom. And the shattering of glass. The house seems very It's pleased with that. Gaharis, go ahead and make a, I'll call this a strength check to try and pull the rug off of Thomas Doyle Lane.
Sure.
Would Ivron assist?
You
if
absolutely
he
can.
makes it there.
Yeah,
Sure.
absolutely. You guys, I'm assuming you guys are like sticking in a relative group, so easy enough to do.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So the first roll. So this is a strength. Would I be using strength saving throw or just strength
Just check.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a 19 and a 17 plus 4, so a 23 or a 21.
All right, and roll with advantage if you didn't already.
Yeah. So the
All right.
advantage was the 17. Original
Okay,
roll 19.
What'd you roll first? Okay. Garrus, as the house manages to resist your command as well, you and Ivron both charge and start pulling at the rug, and thankfully you do manage to pull it loose as Thomas takes in a gasp of breath and manages to force himself out with you guys helping keep the rug off of him. The whole thing starts to shake and slam, and as the two of you pull Thomas free, the whole rug actually sweeps out from under all of your feet and raises into the air like a massive serpent, the tassels hanging loosely from it, bits of armor and the statue and candle wax go flying and scattering all over the hall as the rug slithers and shakes around. And as you all start to descend the stairs to keep up with the paladins, Israel and Utaki, you both look back briefly and see the mangled, broken glass form of the chandelier like pulling itself into the hallway behind you. Still up the stairs. It hasn't made it down to you yet. What would you like to do, Utaka?
I rolled another d6 to see if the spider would get its web back, and it has. So that's
gonna
been
web 'em up?
2 rolls. Yeah, I would like to web across the walkway.
All right. Your spider starts to web up the walkway, and the chandelier stops and stares at it, and with the rug gone, it has no actual limb with which to deal with this problem. So the chandelier itself actually raises using the chain almost like a like ballast, again taking an almost serpentine like shape as it stares down at all of you and gives another roar as smoke from the candles on the chandelier begins to fill the hallway. The balcony door has been blasted open, and Utaka has slowed down your pursuer, who seems to be struggling to keep up with you as it is. What would you all like to do?
I guess I would be with Gria's, like saying, like, we're going for the door, and as she passes Thomas, Israel's gonna smack him with spider climb, so that he can just climb down, because she's gonna jump.
How
But she
far
doesn't feel
up
like that's.
are we?
We're at least, I think, 2 stories up, so it's not a like horrible fall, but
Is the castle on the ground?
You don't know.
Okay.
no,
In
but
the immortal
Spider-Climb's gonna
words
help him,
Of that
so.
minstrel we killed, I believe I can fly.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Israel's going
Is
for
Ivron
the
still
if I go
falling?
completely limp and I fall in, relatively deep snow, it's fine. I'll be fine. I'll live, which is better than being in this castle.
That's a lot of
So-
dice I hear Matt rolling.
Yeah, so she's going to be like, we're gonna have to jump after that. So she casts Spider Climb. She's now pretty much out of spells. So rest in pieces.
Despite Griaz saying nay, he is on board.
It's good. She understands animals, so she understands that the nay is actually yay.
Okay, so Israel, you're gonna just hold on to Griaz as Griaz jumps for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's gonna hold like the artist as well. She's gonna like be prepared to like take them both and like tumble, basically, as they get thrown. She's gonna try and be fairly limp and then just roll with this woman in her arms.
Okay. Ivron and Gaharis, what are the two of you gonna do?
I am going to run towards the balcony and put my hand up for Ivron, because Ivron can fly, to like catch my arm and then maybe slow the descent.
Yeah, he may not be able to fly with you, but he can glide you both down to the
Yeah,
ground for sure.
Because we are wearing plate
So
armor.
this only lasts a minute.
Well, it's been
One of
like,
us
what,
is
12
wearing
seconds?
plate armor. 12 seconds once we got out of the room, so I don't know how long it would give you,
I would say
48
you
seconds.
would have just
So-
enough time to get to the ground before it wears off. Because you've been maintaining a dead sprint, and it wasn't that
Okay.
big of a distance you crossed. So,
All right.
When we get
I
to
just
the
didn't want there to be
balcony-
any surprises, Greg.
When we get to the balcony, is there like how much air is there between? Because that will affect what Utaka does.
go ahead and make me a perception check.
Yeah, sure, okay. 11 plus a number which I
I've
think
missed this.
is 4, so 15.
As everyone starts preparing their ways to just jump regardless of what they see, Utaka, as you pull your spider up, you look over the side of the balcony, you see the 2 doors now completely broken as they hit the snow below. It looks to be about a 30-foot drop, roughly. About
fine.
20 to 30.
Okay, fine. Then yeah, he will leap off with the spider, and as he's falling with the spider, will drop giant insect and try and catch it. And this spider did a lot for him.
Yeah,
He
well,
doesn't want it to die for him,
it deserves
so-
a rest. That's
Yeah.
fair. Yeah, I'll allow that.
Okay, so he will drop it and take the damage himself and save the spider.
Okay.
Good. I'm proud of him.
Good job. All right. And Ivron, I'll say Gaharis is a pretty muscular guy wearing heavy armor. Make me an athletics check to see if you can carry him and make that glide safely.
That is a 15.
Yeah, I'll say as long as you're just gliding, you're not trying to get him upwards, then yeah, I'll say you can do that. So, and Israel,
the
as you
ground's down, right? So that's
So, Israel, as you ride by on Griaz, you slap Thomas with Spider Climb. And whether he knows what you did or not, Thomas seems to get the memo. And with one last glance to what's left of his comrades, the armor scattered in pieces all over the hallway, mumbles a prayer to himself before sheathing his weapon and making a sprint for the balcony. And taking the opportunity to climb down, making somewhat clumsy but rapid movements down the wall to make that journey safely. Griaz, gallop. You gallop with the clip-clop of hooves before jumping over the side of the balcony. Gaharis, you run holding up your hand, and Ivron, you take your brother's hand and fly over the side. Gaharis, you kind of like get hip-checked into the side of the railing, but are managed to be pulled over as Ivron glides you down. And Utaka, carefully measuring the drop, you drop giant insect and roll over the side, catching the spider as you fall. Ivron and
Matt-
Gaharis, what's up?
Can I just ask you, what do I have to roll for Griaz to spontaneously turn into a Pegasus at this moment?
Nat 20 Arcana check.
Yeah, okay. All right. You want to do this, Matt? You should have said Nat 30. It's 12. It's fine. It's fine.
Tried.
Always next
You
time.
really tried.
Honestly, I seriously would have been tempted if you had actually done it.
You just
If you'd
didn't
actually
believe
gotten
hard
that
enough,
nat
that's all
20,
it
it would
was.
have been like, yeah, sure, rule of cool. It happens.
Yeah. It's like when you have that player that's like on their last death saving throw and they fail it and they're like, but if I make my next roll is a d20, do I just come back? You're like, yeah.
All right, so Ivron, with the gift of your flight, you and Gaharis are spared the falling damage. However, you are forced to drop him, and your wings dissipate as you fall just very shortly, but somewhat clumsily into the snow, and you two start pulling yourself up. The rest of you take 10 bludgeoning damage from the fall. And as you all start, what's up?
Oh, I was just gonna say I'll use 1 point of lay on hands out of my 5 left to heal Ivron 1 HP.
Go for it. As you all start picking yourselves up out of the snow, is there anything you'd all like to do?
Yeah, I'd like to put some space between me and this madhouse.
Yeah, like Israel would be getting the
Everyone's
artists
just gonna
up, dragging them along, getting closer to the tree
Uh,
line and away from crazy
yeah.
house.
Has Naden checked in? So I would communicate with Naden to see if Naden is within that mile or so. Okay.
Yeah, Naden's not within distance right
Okay.
now.
That means the Wendigos are probably not within distance, which is what I was mainly worried about.
Ivron, Utaka, Griaz, anything the three of you would like to do, or are you just going to join your comrades and just getting out of Dodge?
Yeah, I'm running.
Okay.
I think before Ivron leaves, does the house look like it's going in any type of direction, or is it just like there?
Ivron, as your comrade's ready to run, you turn to watch, and sure enough, a crack runs up the side of one of the towers. Another. Up the back. And the trees of the forest start to splinter and crack and break. And the towers of the mansion begin to pull themselves out of the snow. And the doorway that you guys had entered through cracks and deforms and splinters into a like almost jack-o'-lantern like frown. The windows of the upper stories crack and shatter as flames erupt behind them. And the balcony you guys had just jumped through, a gust of hurricane-like winds echoes out as you can see the silhouette of the chandelier forcing itself through the spider webbing that Utaka left behind as the whole house begins to pull itself out of the snow, and you can actually see several underground stories being uprooted, like stuck, constructed to the house, forming this like almost gargantuan underbelly as this house takes on a quadrupedal mobile form, and Ivron stares down directly at you as it takes one colossal step, leaving stone and brick and snow to fall as it takes a massive footstep not too far from you. The house is just following you now.
I think Ivron is going to hold his great sword aloft and cast, or just use his light bear ability, and jump on Yao and see if he can run in a horizontal direction from the party and try to create a distraction, giving them more distance. Because I'm assuming that this is it's a pretty big step, yeah? So I don't think it would be, that implausible for it to catch up right real quickly.
Okay. All right. You guys, as you all start collecting
out at it,
I'll say maybe a persuasion check.
Uh, 24.
You all see as Ivron alights his sword and gets astride Yao, who's limping slightly from the fall, but continuing to follow your lead, Ivron. And you all watch as Ivron darts on Yao's back into the forest, and the house's gaze follows Ivron, and as soon as they disappear into the forest, it takes one last glance at all of you before shifting and begins to slowly but surely follow Ivron astride Yao away from all of you.
What the fuck is he doing?
Israel has now turned to the woman in her grasp and is shaking her. Look what you've done! Look what you've wrought! And if we all die because of you, I will make sure that your afterlife is the most painful thing that can be imagined. Her hair is wild. Her eyes are glowing. She is incensed. She's probably terrified as well, but she is full on dragging this woman through the snow away from Ivron. Kind of semi-hysterical. She's like, Ivron's gonna die. We're all gonna die. That's a giant fucking house heading probably toward whatever village we'll go to, and we'll then kill everyone there without any time to to rest or recuperate or have any chance of stopping it, really. So she's not having a great time.
Yeah, Gaharis is watching where Ivron went. I think there's a moment of not doubt, but of indecision, where Gaharis is questioning, do I go after and charge this house? Like, I can't let Ivron take this by himself.
What are we doing?
How fast can Yell move?
From what you're seeing right now, Yao's pretty fast. And while the house takes these massive steps, they're these slow, lumbering ones. You imagine it could probably keep up with you guys, but Yao is pretty fast, even carrying Ivron. You're not 100% positive. Maybe the house has a trick up its sleeve, but if both parties maintain the speed you're currently seeing, Yao actually comfortably outspeeds it.
Cool. Okay. Still a horse. Gonna go and just kind of nudge Gaharis.
I'm already on, just like when you were a shark, that first adventure. Ride or die. Just
Ride or
Gaharis
die.
grabs on, climbs up, has the Blade of the Fearless aloft, that shadowy wrought longsword.
I'm gonna make Naden incredibly jealous.
What do you think you're going to do?
I guess Israel will be the only one to understand this. We're gonna go help Ivron.
With what? We can't
Horsepower.
stop that thing without rest, at the very least, and we can't lead it back to the village.
What can I say? I'm going to destroy the housing market.
I thought my horsepower thing was good, but you're literally the only one
She
that heard it.
almost looks like she wants to throw the artist at your head. Like,
Hey,
just
listen.
this woman that she's shaking without really any regard to her.
Right now, Ivron's the only target. With us, there's two targets, and the house has to make a decision. I don't know how
That's
good
what he
houses are
made it.
making.
Oh, sorry. I can't
Yeah,
understand.
you can't hear horses.
Nay, nay.
She's arguing with a horse.
Got it. Sorry.
And also using this woman as like an emphasis to her words. So she's just
Shaking a
back and
person.
forth on the snow.
When Israel is talking, can we understand her, or is she
Yes.
making like animal sounds? Okay.
No, she
got
like
it.
I assume
probably
we can
speaks
hear her,
normal words, but animals understand it.
Okay, got it.
So the animal hears like neigh noises, but you probably hear normal speech pattern. So Israel, you all need to rest. You can't keep this up forever.
I can keep it up for like another hour.
I can...
Exactly. What are you going to do at the end of that hour? That's not long enough for any of us to be in of any help.
Figure
I
it
could
out.
do something.
What can you do?
I mean, fuck. Can any of you like make like lights, like light that'll last a long time, like an hour or something?
I can make a bonfire. I can't make light.
That's not what I was thinking.
Exactly. That's all she has. She's like, I can make a bonfire. I cannot make light.
I reach into my pouch, my pouch of lots of alcohol, and I will pull out the Pyromancer's Preference.
What's that do?
I don't know, it was a magical liquor that has flames all over it. Figure it out. I will set it down.
I look at that, and then I look at my black fly statuette, which I pull out. I look at them together, and I'm like, how do I make this work?
Yeah.
I will throw. Okay, sure. Let's see what the fuck happens. Okay, I'm gonna summon my black fly statuette and tell it to hold still. I will start pouring this alcohol into its mouth.
Will we have a fire-breathing
Yeah,
fly? Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Gaharis, as you're astride Griaz and Israel watching Confusion Utaka, you think Sure. And start pouring the pyromancer's preference into the fly statue, now the massive fly's mouth. And the fly, after downing pretty much the whole bottle, kind of steps back and its wings kind of flick for a moment, and it spits a massive cone of fire into the air above you.
Okay, perfect. Can it keep doing this? Israel, you talk to it.
Can you keep doing that?
It's perfect.
I think it is only a one done.
What does the fly say?
Yeah,
I
what
mean,
does
the fly
say?
probably has an intelligence of 1. It probably wouldn't have held on to it.
I don't see the difference between this thing and a dragon anymore. I mean, it flies a breeze fire.
Well, if it can keep making light, then we can send it and it can distract from Ivron. And then it can fly back around, because it lasts 8 hours. So...
She looks like that's genius.
Yeah!
The fly doesn't respond to you, Israel, and as you two are going back and forth, the fly gives and another gust of fire into the air.
Perfect!
We've got it. Cool.
Okay.
Go up. Fly in front of the house. Lead the house away from the tiny glowing man.
The fly turns around, doing that little fly scuttle to look at you, Taka.
Yeah, do what she said! Do what she said! Go! Get it to follow you! We'll fire in its face and don't let it hit you!
You managed to shout that out just as the fly's starting to take off into the tree.
And then come back!
Its flight path is kind of wobbly, and every so often it kind of and sends out another gust of fire. It's just kind of like lazily like flying and occasionally
I've seen a drunk insect, and I can see this. Drunk bees are really funny.
I'll miss you if you don't come back!
Harrison Griaz, are you gonna chase down the house?
I mean, I'm on Griaz. It's Griaz's choice. I will have pulled out the magic D20 in my shield hand.
I can't let Ebron go and sacrifice himself alone.
Yeah.
3 targets, better than 1.
That's true.
Again, Israel's the only one that hears that, but I saw that face, Utaka.
Don't die and circle back in our direction if you can. And she'd look at Utaka. Huh?
That's the plan. We're going to confuse a house.
Exactly. Circle back. Head for the poacher's place. I think it's closer than town and less likely to result in an entire town being murdered. We'll camp there.
Yeah. We'll meet you there.
Exactly. She's gonna drag this woman through the snow.
All right. So, and Tucker, are you gonna?
Towards the poacher's place.
He will go with Israel and help
Okay.
her drag this. I don't think either of them are particularly strong. So
Okay. All right.
together.
Oh, she's just got an arm on this woman, is driving her through the snow. Very low effort. She's hauling with the strength of her rage.
All right, the two of you drag the delusional sketch artist through the snow and forest. Israel, Villanova never responded directly to you yelling at her, but their head kind of lolls limply as they watch the house go, and their expression is just kind of blank. And like every so often, they squint, almost like suffering from a headache, and their head rolls a bit before they continue watching it. Meanwhile, Ivron, holding your glowing sword aloft, you can hear trees being crushed or knocked aside as the house continues to chase you. Yao was able to comfortably outspeed it, but it's still a big thing. And as it continues to slowly, almost like a massive horrifying turtle, make its way towards you, you hear the shattering of glass and the breaking of wood, and turn to see that the chandelier is now pulling itself out of the balcony that you guys had jumped through, the chain continuing to trail behind it as it tries to like stretch and pull itself further, almost hoping it can like just get out close enough to reach you. But again, Yao was able to maintain a comfortable distance from it. But as Yao's continuing to run and you're keeping your eye on the house as Yao bobs and weaves between trees and over underbrush, you see a quite strange sight. You see a flash of fire in the air. Another several feet away. Another. It's gradually coming closer, just occasionally lighting up the sky like a very brief, unimpressive firework. um, and as it gets closer, you're able to just make out the wobbly flying form of Utaka's fly, with no Utaka astride it at the moment. Every so often, it jolts in the air and lets out a belch of flame, and starts to like drunkenly sway in front of the house. As for the moment, the house appears to be ignoring it, although you do see the window cracks kind of like change direction to glance at it as it continues to follow you. And Griaz with Gaheris astride. How fast can you move in horse form, Griaz?
Warhorse speed, I believe, is 60 feet.
All right, so you're actually able to match paces with Yao. And you're faster than the house, actually.
Can we say that the high point of Celine Dion's Heart Will Go On is playing as the fly like crests over? You're here. There's nothing.
All right. Griaz and Gaheris, I'll say at this point you're pulling up behind the house and you can see Ivron on Yao by the light of his sword in the forest ahead of you. The house does not appear to have noticed you yet. What would you like to do?
What was the name of the prince again? It was Duke or Prince.
His actual title is Duke, although everyone uses Prince because technically both are actually applicable. But his name was Adam Fishburne.
I'm going to yell out, Adam, this is not the path that you should choose. This is not the answer. We can save you. We can still save everyone. But you need to stop.
Make me a persuasion check with advantage.
Sure, I'd like to just use a nat 20. So, I have one nat 20 left.
Exactly.
But that is a total of 28.
Ivron, as you're kind of confusedly watching the fly, its flight patterns appear like confused and uncertain. The house continues to follow you but watches the fly, but you hear your brother's voice ring out across the snowy night forest. And the house stops and begins to make a massive 180. And Griaz, you and Gaheris are met with the intimidating sight of the mansion turning back around, still like hoisting itself like several feet into the air, and just staring down at you. Smoke is billowing from the chimney, and you can see the chandelier hanging off of the balcony. It's glass. The crystals are all but gone at this point as the candles continue to belch smoke, and the shattered remains are morphed into an angry face as it stares down at you and gives another roar of crunching glass and splintering wood. You have its attention, Gaheris.
It is right to be upset. What was done to your people and yourself was unkind and cruel. But this is not the way of a ruler, and this is not the way to make things right. You know this. You only want what is best for your people. And what is best is that you stop.
Gaheris, are you being honest?
About what part? What is best for their people is that they stop.
Yeah. Do you believe what you're saying?
I think it's like 75-30 or 70-30. Gaheris definitely understands that this is definitely deception. Partially. Because I think that them being calm and relaxing is the best way to, without casualties, spare the people and spare their followers and their guards that are in the castle. So, absolutely true.
Okay.
Gaheris also, thinks that this ruler would understand that, acting in passion is not a good way to achieve their goals.
Okay. Gaharis, the expressions in the massive building don't change, but the smoke does begin to dissipate slightly. The candles burn begins to get reduced to embers. Um, and the chandelier dangling like a unsettling, off-putting metronome from the balcony watches you intently as the frown grows deeper, but the angry eyes of the face built into the chandelier soften slightly. It makes a low, rumbling growl, which I do not believe anyone here speaks Primordial, unfortunately, but
Yeah, you also people can speak Primordial back there.
but from what you can gather, Gaharis, it's listening, although you don't necessarily have it entirely convinced yet, but it is listening, and for the time being, its passionate anger does appear to have been calmed for the moment.
All right,
What-
then that is good. We are talking. This is nice. I'm glad that reason can prevail.
The chandelier stares down at you, this massive structure, and the chain limply hangs as the cracks and fissures that had formed in the building are gradually beginning to reform as the chandelier stares down at you, and it lets out a hissing, craggly gravel that you can't understand, but it looks around at the surrounding forest, almost confused.
You have been wandering these past few weeks. I assume that you can understand me, so I'm just going to keep this brief. You have been affected by the cult of Red Sight. They did this to you and your people. They manipulated the sketch artist. They were used like a tool to target you and your kingdom. We are here to stop that. That is what we do. We keep them in check, and we find ways to reverse their effects and their magic. Your castle has been moving. I can only assume that that is at your behest and not at the control of something else. However, your people are still, the vast majority are alive. They are in the town. It has been a whole month. I know that it does not seem like it has been a month for you.
It lets out another craggling, scratchy growl as the bricks begin to start reforming, almost like the castle's gradually pulling itself back together where it had splintered and broken in their rage.
In 8 hours, after me and my companions have rested, we have already cured some of your citizens. We can cure you and start working on those of you in the castle.
They initially don't react. They appear to be listening, but after you say those in the castle, the expression softens further, uh, um, becoming less the frown of anger and more of a frown of sadness and melancholy. And the castle begins to gradually settle back into the snow as the last of the cracks and fissures that had formed begin to lock themselves back together. the fires within the castle begin to weaken. As the chandelier hanging limply from the balcony watches you, its expression becoming limp and lazy, as it lets out another weak, scratchy sound of glass breaking. You can actually see several broken crystals fall from the chandelier into the snow.
Yeah, I think at this point too, everyone would have made his way over to you guys. He also would have cast his last ability, Cure Wounds, on Yao during their running. Just he would have gotten 15 HP if that matters to you, Matt.
Of course, thank you. Noted.
But yeah, no, I think he would have made his way up to Gaheris, and as Gaheris has talked down this castle, he just gives him like an approving nod to both of them, like, good job.
I will say for your benefit, Yao appears to appreciate the healing and appears to be walking a bit more steadily, albeit somewhat tired from the dead, terrified sprint. And as it comes to be astride Griaz's horse form, the chandelier turns with a cracking of glass to look at you, Ivran, and looks between all of you before the castle settles back down into the snow. You can actually see piles beginning to form from the disruption it's creating as it basically has to burrow the underground segments of the castle into the dirt it happens to be standing on. Now essentially about midway between where it originally had been and where Villanova had left it. As trees are forced to kind of bend and make way for this massive structure being effectively planted atop it. And Gaheris, the chandelier, gives you one last sad, tired look before the face almost kind of melds into the broken glass, almost like falling asleep. And the last of the fires in the house are extinguished. Kid aggro.
Yeah, so I mean, Ron just gives him a look like, why didn't you guys just keep running? Main character of a story. Brother, we were running for our lives. I was just trying to give you all enough time to get away. I would have swung back around at some point. But I am glad to see you all. And he actually looks up to see what's the fly doing.
Yeah, I was just about to get to that.
This poor fly. This poor drunk fly.
The ebony fly sways over the rooftop and actually perches loosely on the what's left of the balcony after you guys smashed through it. And as it perches there, the house does kind of inhale briefly, like you can actually see it squash in on itself a little bit before another gust of hurricane wind sends the fly spinning and careening and crashes into the snow where its legs just stick in the air and kind of wiggle as its wings buzz in the snow trying to get it free. It gives another
I do have to say
and
some
the
sort of
snow all around it melts.
You have seen Utaka change it back before, but I don't know if you would
Isn't there like
remember
a command word that Utaka
Yeah.
says, or is it? Yeah. I guess if Ron would just be trying to think back to what Utaka uses as a command word. Because he tries to listen to Utaka. He does.
I think he's been saying it in
Doesn't-
Primordial, though.
You just make like a guttural sound and hope for the best.
Yeah.
Imitate the sound, I guess. It's
Some Ron Weasley trying to imitate Parcel
Yeah.
Tongue kind of
Maybe
moment here.
Maybe a performance check. You rolling that one, you just end up saying, fuck you, man, shit, and the house comes back to life and you roll initiative again.
say performance. Not a 1, but a 9.
You attempt to replicate the sounds that Utaka makes to the fly, but you don't know whether you said it wrong or if it's just too drunk to listen to you, but it kind of rolls over after its latest breath of fire melted all the snow around it, and its head just kind of tilts up at you, almost and it slowly, unsteadily pulls itself to its feet and starts to kind of slowly waddle towards you before just collapsing at your feet.
So is it still in a very large fly form?
Yes.
I think Ivron is gonna start collecting branches to make like a little play, I guess, and he'll try to attach it to Yao.
Make it
The fly's not gonna change because they still have like 8 hours to before it changes back. So
Unlike
appear to be
sticks,
unconscious if that helps.
unlike sticks, with which it won't burn when it.
Snowy
I mean,
sticks.
what I'm saying is he's facing it up. He's facing the mouth away from everybody as they are gonna drag it back to Utaka.
I'll tell you what, that I did mention, yeah, the house has knocked over several trees and like splintered others. So make me a survival check. Make a survival check with advantage.
So good at these checks that keep going on my way.
While they're assembling an improvised fly caravan, Griaz, what are you doing?
Staying a horse, I guess. I mean, we still got to get back. That's the other part of it, and it's kind of nice having that little bit of extra hit points just in case that house chooses to step on me.
Okay.
Plus, also it's kind of
Gaher-
fun, like not being able or not like having to help, knowing that I have the ability to.
All right. And how'd you do?
With Harris's help, that was a 16.
Okay. You're not exactly an expert at improvised fly carriage building of sticks, but with some help from Gaharis while Griaz observes, you and Gaharis are able to put together something functional, at least. Turning the fly, it appears pretty light for its size, thankfully. Turning it so that it faces away from the things you're building. You manage to roll its unconscious form onto the sled and rig it up so that Griaz can drag it behind. If there's nothing the three of you have left to do while you're in this area, you can start making your way to the poacher's hut.
Yeah, I've got nothing else to do.
Okay.
I will put the magic D20 back in the bag of
Okay.
holding, making sure I don't roll it.
Fair enough.
Mimic one, isn't it? Or is it the magic one?
It's the magic one.
Okay, so it's the wild magic D20. not the
Yeah.
magic D20.
Yeah, no, the mimic is a D6.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't have that one, so we're safe.
Yeah, mimic bugbear has that one.
Yeah.
That's true.
I
I
have
will
a-
need to step away for a minute to let
Okay.
this puppy out before I get a mess. But when we get around to the hut, if I'm not back, Utaka is kind of keeping watch for Israel and like sort of dozing off, but kind of like in like a short rest because he's exhausted. So he'll just
Oh
kind of
yeah,
like
what
be.
she would have done immediately upon getting there is set it up so that it's somewhat sheltered and where they can see the doorway, but without being seen themselves, and basically like let them both like sit down and rest.
Okay.
Yeah, he
Holy
will do
crap.
whatever she tells him to do, and I will be
Okay.
right back.
Go for it. Speaking of, Israel, as the house lumbers away from you and your party mates go after it, you and Utaka. So you're going to take a path around the town to go cut through the forest to get to the poacher's hut. Okay. Easy enough to do. You keep an ear out into the surrounding forest to avoid any potential surprise elk incursions. But you do not hear from Naden. You do not see Naden, nor do you see Naden's pursuers. As you and Utaka start making your way through the forest, is there anything in particular you'd like to do before getting to the poacher's hut?
No.
Okay.
Unless whatever her face becomes more responsive or tries to get away. I think Israel's more of like she's in that sort of zone where she's dead set on an objective, and by being dead set on the objective, she's not allowing herself to think of other things because otherwise bad things would happen. So she's just like, I get to the hut, I set up stuff so we can all sleep in the hut, and then I might, dissolve into a puddle of nothingness, but that's for later. That's later time.
All right. All right. It takes you a few hours. The route you took out here was long enough on its own, and you're dragging someone with you and trying to be somewhat careful so as to not alert potential assailants. But the trip is unobstructed. You drag Villanova behind you, and to a lesser extent, Utaka. Yeah, in total, the roundabout takes about 3.5 hours. It's late into the night, and you expect the sun will actually be rising soon. Um, uh, you do not hear any noises in the distance. You don't know if maybe the battle came to an end, or perhaps you're simply out of earshot of it. The town itself, as you stay on the forest outskirts, from what you can glimpse of it through the trees and hear in the distance, appears to still actually be somewhat active. Likely sounds of what was happening reached them, or they had some indication that something was happening and are staying active as a result. You are able to make it to the poacher's hut on the outskirts of ground, still in the same state you left it in from the looks of things. And as you enter, do you have anything specifically in mind in terms of things you would like to set up, or more just generally making it more secure?
So first she'd close windows or doors as much as possible to keep the cold air out. And whatever like wood or kindling was around for the fireplace, she'd pile in there and then just use bonfire to set it alight, and set herself and Utaka up with their blankets that they have in their packs, to with her sort of back to the fireplace, front to the door, and Utaka, maybe leaning against the bed or whatever, also sort of sitting up but dozing because they're both like exhausted.
Yeah. Utaka.
And she probably tossed the artist onto the bed, still tied up, or however she's secured, just probably secured by some rope, like tied her hands behind her back. And then
Yeah, you guys have tied her up.
But like, stay here.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, you guys had essentially hog tied her. So
yeah, exactly. So it's just she lives there now.
Utaka attempts to keep a somewhat drowsy watch. The only thing you cannot do to, because you're able to more or less get the door at least back into position, even if you can't fully reattach it. So there's a bit of a draft coming in from the door, but nothing too severe. The window that was broken from the poacher's escape in whatever the artist turned them into is also beyond your ability to fix. So there's a bit of a draft coming from the front of the hut, but staying near the fireplace is able to keep it relatively at bay, as it is thankfully not a particularly windy night beyond usual. Villanova, for her part, is rather quiet. Although, as they kind of look around absent-mindedly, once you throw them on the bed, you see they actually look at the chair that had been that you had seen set up from across the bed, and actually give a small smile and kind of lay their head on the side of the bed and just, I remember being here. A beautiful drawing of an animal. So hungry.
Shut up.
Whether they actually process what you said or simply don't have anything further to say, they just smile and lay their head on the side of the bed, watching the chair, seeming just lost in thought. It takes about much of the same time. You guys can get there a little bit faster on your mounts. Allegrias, how much longer can you maintain horse form?
So one use is 3 hours, and however long it would take to get back, he could put another use into it. So in total, 6, but with one use, 3.
Yeah. So yeah, you would take. Yeah, you would. Yeah. You would actually be able to make it as long as you. It would basically be wearing off right by the time you got back. Okay. You guys are able to get there a little bit faster. Although Israel and Utaka had something of a head start. But about I'd say 2 hours after your initial confrontation with the mansion, between the extra time it took, Israel and Utaka, the two of you are waiting for about an hour in total before you can hear the sound of steps in the snow making their way towards the hut. And with a glance out the window, you see long leg horse with Gaheris astride, dragging an unconscious giant ebony fly behind them on an improvised sled, and Ivron astride Yao, still alive and not crushed by a rogue mansion.
With relief, she sort of opens the door enough for that their bodies to be able to get in, and would sort of like jog out to meet them, honestly, while leaving Utaka to like probably be dozing where they were.
He'll kind of stumble after her, a little less pep in his step.
Good news. All that we really had to do was tell the mean house not to attack us, and that we would save it.
She looks at him in disbelief and actually, like, as he's like dismounting, presumably would just put her hands on either side of his face and then just like lean in. Like, she can't speak, but she just stands there a moment, and the implication is very clear that she's just glad that you're all right, and she's just sort of slumping at the moment. And she does murmur, "There's a fire inside. We can all rest. It's all warm enough."
Onyx, like go over and start like shoving at the fly, trying to see if it's responsive.
The legs kind of kick very slightly in protest. They appear to be completely unwounded, just unconscious.
Okay, we'll give it a good tussle on its fuzzy head.
Hangovers?
Well, it can rest that off for its 2 days, in which it will be a statuette again. He'll release the magic and give it another pat before he kind of like drops it into his bag of holding.
And Griaz, about by this point, your use of wild shape is beginning to wear off. You're all wounded and tired, and you can actually see the first light blue tinges of sunlight beginning to stretch over the trees as you have been up all night doing all of this. I will say, if you don't go in for a long rest basically ASAP, you will take a hit of exhaustion.
Say no more. I am ready to go to bed.
Ivron will stand watch with the dawn, so he'll take a hit of exhaustion, so everyone else can rest.
Everyone, go to sleep. It's fine.
Face looks very disappointed, but he's just looking at the dawn because that's his MO.
We can, like, cover the windows, make it darker or something.
We all need to sleep. We're no use to anyone like this.
After
I
all,
guess if
you owe it
everyone
to
is
those people, everyone, to get a full rest.
Guilt trip the
still
paladin.
silent.
That's the
Yeah,
one thing you
yeah.
can use.
Still silent and still looking very disappointed. Everyone will then, I guess, snuggle up with Yao in a corner and go to sleep.
Yes, you too.
Oh, I am. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Shit. Uh, yeah. Junior, can you appear as like window blinds?
Junior kind of
Curtain?
like groggily shifts, but they do not take the form of window blinds. However, they do take the form of some decently thick curtains.
All right, nifty. Hey, buddy, you're gonna be right next to the window. You just make a horrifying, unearthly screech if you notice anything, okay? But you get some rest too.
Notice anything? And they kind of they kind of stick themselves to the window and just kind of, you can actually see the curtains kind of like get weighed down at the bottom as Junior like sloughs a little bit in exhaustion. Need a water bottle for that hydrate. As you all, with Junior helping with the draft and the light, begin to settle in for, as at this point, it's less of a as good of a rest as you can get situation, more you pass out wherever your body can fit. Ivron snuggling with Yao, who nods their head and kind of like rests their head on their arms. Utaka, your head kind of laying on the bed. Israel, I presume, with Harris by the fireplace. Griaz, I presume, probably close to Junior. Villanova is silent through the night, only very occasionally muttering to themselves as they stare up at the ceiling, whatever it is they're seeing being recorded only in their own mind now. The night, thankfully, passes without incident. You all get a long rest. However, given that it was already dawn when you guys went to bed, it is comfortably late afternoon by the time you guys are getting up. And as you all begin to groggily wake up, Harris, you actually wake up first from a message in your head. The chase has been surrendered.
As in, they have caught you, or they are coming back this way?
They retreated into the forest with the dawn.
Then you have done so well. I am so glad to hear from you. You know, I have plans, and I think that it may be best to show you. And Gaharis will walk up to the door that still has like those scratch marks, and will hold out his hand and kind of press that black plated gauntlet against the door. And I am going to cast Find Steed and summon Naden here with a new appearance.
Okay.
So Naden kind of erupts from, it's like this ichor kind of slides beneath the still of the door in front of the house, and it's like this inky black depths, and this black charger just rises. But it looks like a warhorse. It is just a pitch black warhorse.
As you all begin to awaken somewhat groggily, you see this display as, are you going to summon him outside or inside?
Outside.
All right. So with the door pushed aside for the time being, as you all awaken, you see the new pitch black warhorse form that Naden has taken, as Naden gives another hideous whining shrill before bowing their head to you, Gaharis, and looking at you with dark red eyes. What would you have me do?
For now, we are going to... Well, this is all telepathically, but for now, we are going to wait. We are going to see how many, if any, of the citizens of this town we can save. Turn back into normal. It is clear there has been a failing on the ruling party of this nation of ground. I believe these people would be much better off for someone stronger, someone who knows how to solve things, to take charge. And I need to look the part.
Very well. And they give another bow and step aside to allow you to exit as you wish. As the rest of you awaken for the day, what are all of you doing?
I mean, you're hungry, I can make something to eat. We got a fireplace at least. And then maybe we can talk about what we're going to do next.
Gerald just sort of like grunts and like nods. Just like, that's fine.
Breakfast
Good
sounds
enough.
Well, I think at this point it's brunch, lunch maybe. I don't know. It's like the
It
day.
doesn't matter.
So I
It
suppose
is a meal.
we eat, then maybe transforms a house into a person? Or at least pulls a person from the house?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where's Thomas? Is he with us? Where did he go?
Oh yeah.
And Thomas was never seen again.
Yeah, Thomas just
He
ran
ran
into...
down and presumably escaped somewhere.
Yeah, you guys did not see where he ran off to, but yeah, you did see him. He made it down the balcony, but no, you did not see with your
I would
focus.
presume he just went back to town. Like, he knows where he is.
Rookie
roughly
move
speaking.
with spider climb. He could have just stayed on the walking tower, like on the wall, and just rode that baby for miles.
The pioneers used to ride these
Exactly.
babies for miles. But yeah, no, you did see him make it down safely. Just yeah, you guys were in a hurry to escape and did not see what became of him afterwards. That being said, Ivron, as everyone is discussing plans and potential brunch fest, you turn your attention to Villanova, who is laying back in the bed and appears to have not slept. While you can't physically tell, you see no signs of grogginess or like freshly waking up, any sign that they had actually rested at all. Just continuing to stare up at the ceiling, and as the party's making their motions, a smile overtakes their face and they turn to look at you and give you a nod, almost like the nod of someone who's sharing a secret with someone else, but like whatever it is, you have no idea what it is they could be thinking of. And they just smile at you with a nod and kind of stare off into the middle distance again as their visions overtake them.
What is it that you see, Magazine?
You all hear Ivron say this to Villanova as the artist blinks and looks to you, Ivron, and they give a wide smile and the devil is taking his crown.
At this point, everyone does give a glance towards Gaharis.
Harris is just petting Maiden. Unassumingly, I will say. If I need to roll a deception check, I will, but I'm doing nothing threatening.
The snow will run red with blood.
Whose blood?
Everyone. They will not accept the devil as the king of hell.
Israel just gets up and walks outside. Like she just doesn't want anything to do with this woman or her ramblings. So she just straight up thanks Griaz for the food and just walks outside.
Yeah, speaking of Griaz, what are your plans for brunch?
Let's see, what the hell do I have in my inventory? I was just gonna do like rations, but hey, I have lightning mushrooms? That doesn't sound like I should put that in everybody's food. Mimic poison? No. Portable swamp? Probably not.
Just drink the portable swamp. Drink the bog water.
Oh,
Drink
no.
bog water. It's the quenchiest.
It's good for you. Puts hair in your chest. Yeah, he's probably just throwing together whatever he can from their general rations and collections of meat and everything else.
Of course. So, yeah, you all, do you want to give some of your rations to everyone or just like for flavor, but mechanically everyone just.
Yeah, literal flavor, because we're adding food.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so yeah, I'll say everyone's.
Yeah, I'll take 2 rations off my list of rations, I think. Because I still have them stocked up from when we went to Nightmare.
Okay, so yeah, as everyone's a day of water and food, as Griaz mixes together you guys' rations into relatively palatable to your tastes. Garrus?
I will take out 6. Sorry, I looked and I still have 48. I will cut that down to 42.
Okay, so you want to just take care of everyone's food then, basically?
Yeah.
All right, so Garrus gives you just about almost a week's worth of their rations to throw together a good breakfast for everyone. So all of you guys still lose a day of water, but you guys are all good on rations. Garrus is spotting you guys for the day.
No one loses a day of water. I have a decanter of endless water. At this point, we've been traveling for like 5 or 6 days since I got this, so they would know if they need more. They just come to me.
Oh yeah, like
Otherwise-
when our water skin is empty, we just go to him, and his endless water skin he pours more in it.
Yeah.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
other than that, we can just go out in literal
Melt snow.
snow and use like produce flame and melt it. Yeah.
Yeah, so
we
either
have-
way, fresh water not hard to come by. So Gaharis spotting the food, Utaka spotting the water. You guys put together a relatively palatable breakfast as Ivron engages Villanova and Israel, thanking Griaz for the food, walk outside to avoid hearing the ramblings. As Ivron, their head lolls limply as they stare up at the ceiling and looking side to side, almost like they're seeing something that the rest of you aren't, as they kind of lay their back flush against the wall and look up at the ceiling.
I'm in there watching her too.
Mm-hmm.
Does she seem afraid of what she's looking at, or is it just she's just pushing herself against the wall to get a better view?
Make an insight check.
23.
Whatever they're seeing is scary. They're not full-fledged terrified, but they are definitely intimidated and unsettled by whatever they're seeing. And whatever it is they're visualizing, they're backing themselves up against the wall and looking around. The sort of expression you would expect of someone watching their home be destroyed, or watching a place they love be torn asunder, as they look around almost in a frenzy. And giving a wide smile as they intake all of this. Their eyes, the same fathomless depths littered with the starlight that you've gotten used to from them. A great battle for the crown. The snow runs red. The devil takes his throne.
I don't think there's really anything Iran can do to comfort her, but he will sit as close to her as he can, just to make sure she doesn't hurt herself. But other than that, I think he'll like turn to Taka and ask, should we get an extraction of some kind?
As he turns, he would see Yutaka already fiddling with his sending stone, which I would like to use silently.
Go for it.
All right. Hey, boss lady. So, got the fucking artist here. Can Tails come and get her? Because honestly, fuck this bitch. I'm tired of hearing her talk, and that's where it cuts off.
You get a relatively prompt response. Oh, glad to see that you're all still alive. Yeah, I'll have Tails come and fetch them as quickly as I can. Just let him know if there's anything we need to know. I'll have him get the report from Captain Blackmont. And there's a pause, and tell him I said hi. And that's where the message ends.
Yeah, he kind of like fiddles with the stone some more. She said she'd send Tails, but I also didn't really tell her where we are, so maybe they'll figure that out.
Perhaps we should.
Well, I would hope so. They do know that we're ground.
We
Yeah,
can
but
leave her locked in one of the inn rooms. Try mine. I haven't used it.
Yeah, I mean, we should just take her back to ground, because they're not gonna fucking find her out here in this shack.
That's fair. On top of that, maybe if we can communicate with Tails to bring some scrolls to dispel magic, perhaps that will speed up fixing.
We know about
this,
that, right?
castle.
Yeah, fine. Okay, I will cast sending the spell to Tails. So, hey. This is Utaka. Haven't talked like this before, but we're in ground. Please come. Bring scrolls to make magic shit not work. Great. That's where it goes off.
It was very good. It was very professional.
Articulate as always.
I could not have said it better myself.
Israel, just shake your head. She then asks, Gray asks Utaka, how many times can you cast that magic today?
Well, 2 more, because you just made me fucking call him.
If you'd consulted us before using the stone, maybe you wouldn't have had to use 2.
I didn't use 2. I used 1.
I meant the stone and then a spell. You wouldn't have had to use both. You'd have only used 1. Whatever. Doesn't matter.
I don't know,
So you
y'all
can
were
do 2.
having a-
What about you?
You guys were having a moment out there or something.
I was
She's like,
just
I was
petting
eating my
Nathan.
breakfast.
I do this all the time.
No, she's like, I was just eating my
Good for you.
breakfast away from her crazy rambling. Like, I can't think with that going on.
I don't know what's going on when you and Gaharis walk out of sight. Who knows?
She's like, I was literally like right outside the door that I think is pretty much open. She was
Speaking
just
of-
standing there.
As you all are talking, you hear a knock against the wall, and see Tails lean into the doorway. Am I interrupting something?
No.
Absolutely not.
You
How
are,
many-
and thank you for that.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, Taka, as they're talking for the first few words they say, you're hearing it through sending and from him physically.
Whoa.
Getting this kind of weird feedback sensation as they step forward, and I understand that you're in need of magic dispelling.
That would be most wonderful. On top of that, this is the artist, and I will motion my
And the
over
hog-tied
towards-
woman on the bed.
Absolutely don't trust anything she says. She is absolutely crazy. I believe she has some power of foresight, but I think she is seeing a lot of possible solutions. Um, none of them are concrete. She, for instance, said she was going to get squashed, and she didn't. So there, and I will make a pointed look at her.
Villanova actually looks to you and just smiles and tilts their head. Tails, for their part, just that's the thing about divination magic. Sometimes it comes true just in a way you didn't expect. Don't take. I'll be careful not to take anything they say completely on board, but don't completely dismiss anything they've said either.
Well, can you like make sure no one smashes her so it doesn't come true then?
Of course, we don't
Cool.
do business that way.
Most of the time.
If we don't have any other choice, as long as, from what I understand of the abilities, is there anything we should know for containment? I need to get a full report from Captain Blackmont, and then I would be more than happy to assist with undoing any of the effects this person's had on the town. But
Sure away from any supplies that could be used to draw or depict people's likenesses
okay.
on any sort of surface.
Just to be on the safe side until we have the full report, we may just keep their hands bound altogether and go from there. We'll allow
like Israel is completely on board of just throw her in a room, hog tie her, feed her occasionally. Just like that should be fine.
We'll allow them more freedoms as we deem them safe to be permitted. I think that Detective Mistra and Lord Els would be interested in exploring this person's ability of foresight, however.
Be careful. Like you said, it's warped.
Matt,
What's up?
when we were in the ballroom, did she mention the dragon? I vaguely remember you said something about the dragon, and I think I didn't ask about it.
The dragon. Oh, like the priest?
Yeah, she
The
said something in her
multi-headed
rambling,
one.
and she was like,
Yes. I believe. Yeah, they had mentioned they had done a painting of the priest in the forest that you had seen that had you in the same painting.
yes, okay, yeah. They had the picture of a priest and of a dragon, and something else.
Are you referring to the priest?
I literally don't know.
Three
But
heads.
perhaps we will
three.
we will recover it for you, and then you can take a look at it.
I'll definitely investigate.
Yeah, it had fucking 3 heads.
Three
Remember?
heads, 9 tails.
Oh. Wasn't looking at those.
It did.
Yeah.
Can confirm.
That is the priest then, although the priest is dead.
I don't think so.
Is it possible that her magic could have brought him back?
I will need to read the full report, but do you suspect the priest is alive?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We just saw a lot of iconography, and she in particular seems kind of focused on that, so
Whatever she depicts can come into being in a warped sense. All of her paintings of individuals end up leaving them not as they're depicted, but something worse, something more horrifying.
I see.
The poacher she painted here, and she even points to like the stool where the woman sat, and he was a poacher laying across his bed, and the only artistic license she took was a pair of antlers. But we now know for pretty much a fact that this poacher is now a monster with antlers and an all-consuming hunger patrolling the forest.
Okay, but like, wait, like, honestly, yeah, poacher, yeah. You know a lot more about this fucking priest than we do, right? Can you like fucking tell us what the fuck's going on?
Secondly, who killed the priest? How did they do it? Is it possible that they only killed like a physical manifestation of their body and their spirit is,
Or
a
do
higher
people
being?
worship him? Like, could he do shit through other people? Like, what the fuck is happening?
One question at a time, please. will happily answer all of your questions. Uh, he less sits down and more his legs cross, and he continues to levitate in place as he puts his wrists together, the mage hands at the end of each arm clasped together. The priest was one of the subjects the GSIA was investigating over a decade ago. A dragon that had the ability to bestow infinite magic to all those that were near it. Unfortunately, this often caused magical overload, but if channeled properly, some people believe that it was the source of infinite energy. Wizards could cast spells all day without any fear of running out of energy. Paladins could heal and heal and heal with no limitation. But the priests themselves was malevolent, massive, and destructive, and the energy output they created storms and hurricanes everywhere they went. So there was no way we could contain something that massive, something that powerful. So the Goldshine Supernatural Investigation Agency and the Hell Knights formed an alliance to take it down. Myself and Lord Els fought in that very battle. We chopped off each of the beast's heads, severed its tails, and the Hell Knights took the body to be disposed of properly with respect.
Where?
They took it over the mountainside, supposedly to Amelia City, where it would be sent overseas, somewhere where the bodies rotting would not spread disease to people.
Outside of you and Lord Els, is there any other living agents that fought in said battles that we have not met?
A few of our field operatives that survived that battle still stand. Most are retired now, but they still live in Valebright and are on the slot for rejoining active duty if the need arises. But after such a tough battle with so many casualties, we allowed most agents and Hell Knights that survived to retire with honors. It was only fair. But yes, some veterans of the battle do survive, but are living in a quiet retirement in Valebright, and we still maintain contact in the event we need them for active field duty, something that is being considered given the events going on as of recent. But yes, as far as I'm aware, the priest is dead.
How many hurricanes do y'all get along the coast here?
It happens occasionally, mostly during the summer. As you know, we had one not that long ago.
Yeah, I know. And all this weird shit's happening, and you said it brings storms and hurricanes everywhere it went.
Constant storms and hurricanes without end or cease. Whenever the priest was in active physical form, a hurricane consumed the entire continent and didn't stop until it was dead.
Wait, so like you guys were here for that? He'll like turn and look to Ivron, Grias, and Gaheris, who have lived here for the last like how many years?
Yeah, I will say, Gaheris and Ivron, you were not there for that particular battle, as again, the Hell Knights are relatively global. And Griaz, this battle took place on the opposite side of the continent of the Black Swamp. However, you would know that, yes, there was a period where it stormed endlessly. And while you had heard rumors of a dragon bigger than any other being battled, I don't imagine that was something that would interest you in that time. But yes, for where you lived, it was basically just floods and constant storms until the priest was defeated.
Taka, that was just rumor at the time. I got nothing for that.
But so far, your judgments have all proved sound. If you suspect the priest is alive somewhere, then as soon as my work here in ground is done, I will head to Amelia City and question Lord Els on the matter, determine what became of the body, and make sure that it was indeed buried respectfully. Perhaps the Children of Red Sight dug it back up. Or do you have your own theories on the matter?
I do not think you should go alone. I think you need us with you.
Yeah.
At this point, there are very few people we can trust.
I understand.
But I did ask one other thing. So, like, did people, like, worship this dragon?
Sorry. A few small dedicated cults, but nothing beyond that. And most of those cults vanished into obscurity with the priest's death. Mostly small, cloistered groups of mages that hoped their worship would give them infinite energy to cast spells. After all, you have to imagine that would be pretty attractive. I imagine it's rather frustrating for all of you, isn't it? Cast a few spells a day and then you're done. And
What was
Israel
their
looks
name?
uncomfortably to the left and right.
What was their name?
the priest.
Yeah.
Who were they before that, so?
Much of their life before becoming what they turned into is unfortunately unknown. However, we do know that they did have a name that their worshippers called them by. It doesn't have a translation in common, but in Draconic. And do any of you here speak Draconic?
Nope.
No.
He lets out a melodic, almost like ringing bell-like sound, and gives a nod, which in Draconic translates to the laughing devil.
Have we heard this sound before?
The sound he's making?
I mean, we wouldn't have recognized it as that sound, but in retrospect, now putting it into context.
Make a history check.
Sure. That is a 10 plus 2, 12.
You have not heard this sound before, although I will say you would know that is typically just what Draconic sounds like. Proper spoken Draconic is melodic and beautiful, far from the guttural roaring that most people think of it as.
I mean, that's probably because dragons breathe breath and they're like, but yeah, I would just sit there.
One last thing. I'm just, like, curious.
For investigators, it's good to investigate when you're curious. What would you like to know?
When did Meester start working for y'all?
He seems a little surprised by the question and actually has to stop and think for a moment. Doesn't seem like confused by it, more like basically it seems like he hasn't thought about it in a while. But after a while, he gives a nod and if I recall correctly, they've been a member of the organization for quite some time. It's been... They were considered for membership for a very, very long time, long before even I joined, but they didn't join properly and become a licensed investigator until just a couple years ago, actually. Supposedly, they wanted to retire from military life, and this was the best option. So,
what military was she in?
On top of that, was this around 6 years ago?
No, about 2 years, I believe, maybe 3. And to answer your question, he nods to you. The gnomish nation of Farias, far away from here, but she's a personal friend of our founder, so she was always a shoo-in if she wanted to join. So the moment that she was no longer in active service, she was welcomed into our ranks. She's young for a gnome, but stress of military life has taken a toll on her, going gray a little bit early. So she decided to retire while the getting was good, as they say. Captain Blackmont, if you are available to do so. I would like a full, proper report on the situation, and then I will make my highest priority the undoing of the curses the artist has laid upon this town. And I will take all of your suggestions on board for their containment until we can get Mr. Mistlequill onto developing a proper containment system for them.
Yeah, Iran would probably nod and walk up to him. It's just, are you ready? We can go talk.
For the time being, I will return the artist to our base in Valebright and make sure that Detective Mistra knows they are contained. Is there anything else you want to say to them before the delivery is made?
I think Iran would just mention, like, let her know that I said hello.
I will. And Tails glances to Villanova, who's just been watching the conversation back and forth, kind of absent-mindedly. And they finally, whenever attention is directed to them, turn their attention onto all of you, but seeming more just so that their gaze settles on someone, their gaze turns to you, Israel, and they give a wide smile, and goodbye. The tower will fall soon.
She just gives her this look of supreme dislike and disdain. Like it has I am looking down through like lidded eyes with undisguised loathing. Like if I could pick you apart with my eyes right now, I would. You'd be in pieces.
Hierophant. Their attention turns to you, Ivran.
Gazing at her.
Will I be remembered? The wheel
Not for me
promised.
to.
The wheel promised me I would be remembered.
It's not for me to say. But I think indeed, Agassiz, you will be remembered. At least in my mind.
They give a smile and lean back, and their eyes finally close. And Tails furrows their brow a little bit, but waves a hand, and Villanova vanishes. And Tails gives a nod, and I will be back in just a moment, and vanishes as well, leaving you all alone in the hut as the GSIA wizard takes the artist to containment.
Well, that was very enlightening. Do you ever wonder, how does Tails always know where we are?
I presume he's left a tracker or some other method of scrying on us.
They know what we're wearing. They know what shit we've got.
They know us, so they can find us.
They
Presumably
can
wherever
fucking
we are.
scry us or something, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, that is fair. I'm going to take a ride on Nathan, who is now not on fire.
Where to?
I was going to do a quick roundabout to make sure that there are no other spying eyes on us.
All right.
I need to go back to the road. That's where I left Barry.
I can give you a ride.
We need to also help that elk woman.
Utaka and I can go. I have some healing now that I can funnel in. Utaka.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Should we meet you guys at the castle? All right. And she just gives a nod and looks to Griaz and Evron like, and we go to the castle. Cool.
All right then.
So I will head out to Nathan, climb up. offer a spot for Utaka.
He still feels bony. He doesn't like look like it. That's fucking weird.
What can I say? The outward appearance of anyone is malleable at best.
All
Are you
right.
trying to be deep? You hear him like say his like.
Oh, you get this like, oh, that was so wise look from from Harris is like, ha ha! I'm so profound. But I'll offer a hand to help you up.
Yeah. We'll do it too.
All right. As you guys more or less part for the time being with intent to meet back up at the castle, Ivron ready to deliver a report to Tails when they return. Gaharis and Utaka riding back out onto the road to retrieve your aunt and elk. And Griaz and Israel left to ponder the new information you have learned about your organization and its historical battles. And with that, we're going to take a break.
All right, we're thinking 5 minutes. 5 minutes sound good?
5:10.
5:10. All right, we're gonna take a 5-10 minute break. We will be back at 10:13, but don't hold me accountable because I'm a dirty, rotten liar. I cannot be trusted. But we will see you soon, and to all of you in the chat, we love you so much. Stay tuned, and I will try and not play too loud a music while we're gone. So see you in a few. Hey everybody, we're back! I hope you didn't miss us too much. Sorry we are a few minutes late. We decided we wanted to level up! We could have done it on screen and you could have heard all of our rambling, but instead we decided not to let you suffer. You're welcome.
Yes, the party has more than earned their level up. They took in the artist, took her in alive at that. And with that, are you guys ready to dive back in?
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Harris, as you take Utaka out to the forest, Ivron, I'm assuming you're going to stay at the poacher's hut and deliver the report when requested. Israel and Griaz, what are you going to be doing? The party seems intent on meeting back up at the castle, but for the time being, is there anything you'd like to do?
No, I don't
No,
particularly want
they'd
to be in
probably
the
just
hut.
gather up whatever they left in the hut, put out the fire kind of deal, and get ready to meet them at the castle.
Okay.
Yeah,
Like
maybe
when-
just start walking slowly there.
Okay.
Yeah, you know?
Easy enough to do. Sure enough. Okay. In that case, Israel and Griaz, the two of you head out. Ivron, Dr. Tails returns after about 15 minutes and takes down your report of the events that unfurled in the village. So you will be last to arrive. But you, is there anything you specifically want to like alter about the report, or just straightforward, like exactly as it happened?
I don't think there'd be anything altered as far as events, but I think the last little statement made with the devil and the crown and whatnot, he's gonna kind of leave off. Just because she had already been detained at that point, and he's worried about his brother and how someone as intelligent as Tails might interpret that.
Okay. In that case, Harris and Utaka, riding away ahead of the others, astride Naden, heading back ostensibly to the road to grab Barry and potentially provide aid to the woman that Villanova transformed in their attempt to escape you. You two have some time to yourselves, as it'll, even on Naden's back, it'll take you an hour or two to get there. So is there anything you would like to say or do on the way there?
I'm so glad you asked. So as we are riding, probably once we're out of earshot and eye shot of the hunter's hut, Harris will kind of look over. I assume you're riding in back of me.
Yeah.
Utaka, what do you think makes a good leader?
Fuck. I don't know.
Well, there are many options. There is power, the ability to crush anything that opposes you, decisiveness, the ability to make decisions, to approach problems quickly. There is benevolence, the ability to be kind, to think of those underneath you, almost like you would the family, to do what is in their best interest. There are many other traits that people would argue makes a good leader. Learned? Sure. Knowledgeable? Of course.
I ain't never been in any of those arguments. Sounds like some fucking rich boy school shit. But you try and talk about yourself, huh?
What I'm trying to say is that...
I mean, everything but that benevolence shit. Or are you trying to talk about everyone? I think you're trying to talk about yourself.
I'm not talking about one in particular person.
Sure.
What I am saying is that... Look around. Ground. A whole month went by without any word. The villagers were not changed. Before the prince vanished and receded into their castle, figuratively and literally. Even before that, this ruler has been ineffective, at best. Good-hearted, of course. But what do they have to show for it? These people suffered under the cult of Redsight, and the only reason that we even came here is because it was on our way to the swamp.
Kind of like rolls his head back and looks up to the sky. What's the weather like today? I don't have the Griaz weather service, but I can look up.
Well, Griaz is still sort of the designated weather mascot, so I'm still going to do it in the Griaz voice anyway. Well, I'm glad you asked, Utak. From the looks of it, it's a little on the cloudy side. Might start snowing again, maybe later in the day, but doesn't look like it's going to be too bad. Overall, it's a relatively nice day, if a little on the cold side. Winds aren't too harsh. Trees keeping you a bit safe in that department. So watch out for some light snow later in the afternoon. Other than that, your day's good as gold.
You know, all I wish is that there's a little jingle that's like, eyes on the skies, it's your daily druid craft with
Yeah, we
Griaz.
need
Like,
to do
hello.
something with Weatherman Griaz at some point. Like, in some fashion, Weatherman Griaz
We'll have
needs
to
to be
record a
thing.
jingle.
Yeah.
Like 3 miles away, Griaz just stops in his tracks, just freezes. Like, I feel like I was needed for like a very brief moment. It was fleeting. I don't know what that was.
All right. I mean, he's just kind of taking a visual, so maybe it looks like it'll snow in a bit. But, kinda... I mean, yeah. Lots of folks, I don't know, fucking... Look, lives suck if you don't live in a castle.
That's fair. I have...
You think, like, some, like, different leader would have made it better for the
I,
people in the village?
I absolutely know for a fact that they would have.
You ever, like, lived, like, somewhere like that and not somewhere like that? And he'll nod over in the castle direction.
Utaka, contrary to popular belief, I did not grow up in a castle.
Oh, I
grew
thought
up
you had
in
some fucking lord for a father.
I was adopted. I grew up in a tiny little hamlet. The kind that was 30 humans, and anyone that was a tiefling had a tail or had pointed ears was different, to say the least.
He kind of
And-
bares his teeth a little bit, like you get the feeling that this is a little familiar to him.
Yeah. I know full well that the world is cruel, and that people don't often look far beyond the color of your skin, the horns on your head, or the condensation on your brow. But that can change.
What do you want to do about it?
I am going to take over this city. I am going to kill the prince. And by right of conquest, I'm going to become the ruler of ground. You may have noticed that there are quite a lot of tieflings in the city, looking for a better day, a better tomorrow. They simply need someone who has the power to make the changes needed, the willingness to not hide behind guards when a fight is brewing. And believe me, the Bluefield Alliance, the Emelian Empire, the war is still brewing.
Did you hear what she said back there?
That the devil will take his crown?
Nah. The part where she said the people wouldn't go for it.
She also said she was going to get crushed by a chandelier.
Yeah. But look, I don't trust her. You don't trust her. Fine. But she did see some shit. Some shit that came true.
I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that for all, at all. But what I am saying is that if we leave here, and we leave it in the hands of a prince who took this over when they were young and has never been trained, has never been taught, and cannot rule, these people will get more of the same. More cults, more evil wizards, more terrible things happening.
Yeah.
And there is one thing I know about the visions and the cult of Red and I will pull out the gaslight that is on my hip and open it.
Does it have a phrase in it right now?
No, it doesn't. I
Oh,
used
okay.
it testing it on her when we were in the mansion, when she was on the speaker. A better day is coming. There is a reason for hope. Gaheris, Nervos, Blackmont has come to lead you into a new age of prosperity and peace. All will be well. And then I shut the gaslight.
While he's doing that, I don't know if it would have any sort of effect. Probably not. Like I'm holding on to him, right? Because
Yeah.
we're on a horse going clop clop.
Yeah.
Kind of like look up to the sky and roll my head back, and I'll just give him a little like guidance while he's doing that. Just a little.
Sure. Matt, how would you like to flavor the guidance? Are there any phrases you would suggest that I add as flavor? And you are muted in Zoom.
No, I know. I was just
Okay.
thinking. That's a good question. I'll say that. I'll tell you what. I'll say Utaka, for some flavor on the guidance. You remember that most of the pictures you saw of the castle staff, and what you've heard is that a lot of the prince's like basically like live-in servants were monster folk themselves. So I will say that you would suggest to Gaheris as your guidance that it might be ideal to include a phrase that would dissuade those who would not follow him, because basically when you live with someone who treats you like family and like as is the only one who does so, you don't want basically you think it would probably be best if they didn't know what
Dissuade them
Gaheris
from
did.
retribution.
Okay.
Yeah,
Then I will add, I seek no retribution against Gaheris and those of his allies, and seek to serve them with my utmost ability.
Okay.
And then I will close it.
And the gaslight alights, and you don't know if it's anything about the guidance itself or maybe just the length of the phrase, but the lantern is a little bit brighter than it typically is.
Her visions, no doubt, are prevented from seeing any futures that are influenced by Azar, Cult of Red Sight, artifacts, individuals.
I don't. Is there anything you're wondering about all this shit you're planning on doing? Anything you don't know? that you want to know. Because I don't trust her, but there are a couple gods I do trust.
That is fair. Here is the steps I've already taken. I have mailed the Bluefield Alliance before we left the Millions Veilbright to inform them that we are still indeed allies. My goal is to keep both sides of this war placated and to not allow ground to become a battlefield. I intend to entreat with the Empress and inform her that I have no intention of turning against her. However, it is in her best interest that someone who is, well, the hero of Veilbright surely has some weight to it.
You think the Empress will take your bullshit as well as we do?
I am a noble. I don't think she will have a choice, because the other alternative during the unrest will be that the Bluefield Alliance will take this over.
Oh, you fucker.
So,
Yeah, okay.
that is my plan. I know that Avron will not stop me. After all, this is for the betterment of all these people. I am not doing this because I want a castle. I'm not doing this because I want a country. I'm doing this because a war is brewing. The Bluefield Alliance, the Emilian Empire, they are going to fight each other, weaken each other. And the real enemy, the Cult of Redsight, will be biding its time and will be growing. And one day, if the priest arises again, we will need troops at our backs, and I am not entirely certain that the Goldshine Investigation Agency or even the Hell Knights will stand with us.
Look. Yeah. Can you, like, pull over, like, right over there?
Of course, and I'll usher Naden over to the side.
I'll kind of, like, push myself off and kind of drop down. Ideally, I will have set this somewhere where I know we're going through a large swatch of forest. I will have set this somewhere where I can see kind of like a downed log. Something like that.
Yeah, easy enough to do. You see tree stump. Remember, this place does a lot of logging, so you're able to find a tree stump easily enough.
I'm looking for one that looks like it's been laying there, like some sort of wood that's been laying there for a while and looks kind of like rotten.
Looking around, you do find a fallen tree that does appear at least relatively rotten. Although the cold is preserving it slightly, it looks like it was likely felled sometime whenever the disappearances first started happening and nobody came to retrieve it. So it's pretty thoroughly rotten.
Look, I think you fucking deserve this. Honestly, you're kind of an asshole, but I kind of dig it. It's grown on me. Can you come over here? Like, here, help me, like, and I'll, like, kind of get down by this log and start, like, kind of pushing it a little bit.
I'll help.
Okay. And what I want to do is I want to, like, scoop out some of the rotten part of it and, like, the insects that would be down in there. And, like, kind of, like, reach into my bag and pull out like, I think I have like a block of incense or something from when I fucking started the game. I don't know. I have incense. And I would like to scatter some of that on this decomposing shit.
Easy enough to do.
And get out like my tinderbox and like struggle a little to light it, but eventually get some like little like not like a burning flame, but like some like embers.
Yeah, yeah.
So like there's some smoke.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to cast divination.
Okay. Utaka, you with Garrus's help push the log further up, and indeed you have to move aside a little bit of decaying plant matter to do this, but there are some insects that are nesting inside to escape from the cold, which do not scatter at your touch. And as incense and get a very light, smoky, wispy flame going, you cast divination. Just reading what it does here. Okay. All right. And what would you like to ask?
All right. I think you kind of see his like eyes kind of like roll back in the similar way that happens when he looks through Garnet's eyes. As he kind of like it might be singeing his hands a little, but he kind of like keeps them in that shit as like some of these bugs like start crawling up his arms, but he doesn't really seem to notice or care. Probably doesn't seem to care. And he will ask, how do I want to phrase this? When Geharis claims this land, will any of the armies around us try and take it from him?
As your eyes roll into the back of your head, insects begin to almost orbit as they gravitate to you. And Garrus, you see this kind of unsettling visage of Utaka, not like being overtaken full on, but basically being like lightly swarmed with insects. And Utaka, in your mind's eye, it's not as deep of a vision as you get at their behest, but in your mind's eye, you almost feel the same stagnant, stale air and light whistling wind of Vermin Hollow. And while you can't see anything, your vision is totally dark. You do hear light padding footsteps and the swish of a tail. And you hear a familiar voice go through your head. Depending on how well he can mind his manners, they might choose to ignore him for the time being and focus on bigger problems. For what it's worth, I think it's a great idea.
You see him like start laughing.
So, what did you see?
It ain't really like that. And he'll kind of like shift his arm and like raise it and look at all the insects crawling over him. And kind of like lift one up and lower it back down. And I feel like the fire kind of like has let itself out at this point.
And yes, as the fire extinguishes and the incense is scattered in the snowy winds, the insects do not scatter from you, but they do start to settle back down into their resting place, more just trying to stay warm in the snow.
You're right. You gotta watch what you say. But Ninklum likes you. They think you can do it.
I am so glad to hear that. I, as always, am always on my best behavior, as you know. And Harris's voice lowers a bit. And you remember the first time Harris threatened you? That deeply unsettling, sincere look. He gives you that. And his accent drops. And if the Empress or any others decide to march on me, then it will be an honor to claim their head.
He kind of like glances aside, and his teeth, which are not a little sharper than your average humans, you kind of like get this like returned like almost bloodthirsty grin. I'll be there. I'll help you.
I could not count on a better co-conspirator, and I will hand the gaslight to you. I am certain that you will know when to use this.
As you wish, my lord.
Well, you will have a spot right next to me, after all.
Scene fade.
Yeah, that's where it is.
Whoops! I accidentally an evil campaign.
Oh wait, we gotta go get Barry.
Yeah, shit, we've got to go heal. So I think we can screen over. We probably ride over to get Barry. I will put however many, like 20 HP. Would that be fair for the individual who was wounded?
Yeah. Which, I'll say with that extra bit of help. So, real quick, Griaz, Israel, and Ivran, and no extra stuff you want to do during your travel to the castle.
I think the only thing Grias would be doing as they're walking through the woods is just keep an eye. You said it's daytime, right?
Yeah. It's like mid-afternoon, because again, you guys woke up late, but so like, yeah, it's probably like basically the sun's gonna be setting soonish, but yeah, it's still daytime.
Yeah, the only thing you would be doing is keeping an eye out. Just the forest is probably a little less sketchy during the day, but keep an eye out for tracks. He's also just trying to do his druid shit and see if there's like any flora or fauna that are interesting. He collected some herbs a while back. It's snowy, so I'm doubting he's going to get much here, but still.
A survival check.
Yeah.
Israel will help. She's got eyes. She's a ranger, so I'll give him advantage.
Yeah, survival with advantage.
Okay. That is a 24.
Okay. You look around, and from the looks of it, it seems like most of the flora and fauna have kind of, as you said, with the snow, are, quietly keeping to themselves. Not too much plant life or animal life is really visible. The forest is silent. With the direction you're going, you don't see much in the way of tracks, and the only activity you see immediately in terms of flora and fauna is you can see some activity in the trees of what appear to be ahuls, bats, sleeping in the trees during the day. Beyond that, the forest is quiet for the time being in the snowy depths of winter. Geharis and Utaka, the two of you arrive first at the injured elk, and Barry immediately turns their head to you, Utaka, and from the looks of it, they are in exactly the spot you left them. They have not moved an inch, and you can see some snow gathered on their head and thorax.
Oh. I'm gonna go over and give her a big hug.
Very enthusiastically returns it to the best of an aunt's ability.
I fall
As
over backwards.
and as this is happening, Gaharis, you pump some extra healing, and um, you the wounds at this point do close completely, and thankfully it does not appear like any serious illness has taken hold. However, they do not still appear to be able to walk. But and while they do struggle and kind of like attempt to pull themselves away, they're still, at this point, they haven't even eaten in a while, so they're still too weak to really fight back against you at this point. All right. Um, yeah. Um, uh, Griaz and Israel, I will say, if Harris and Utaka are both okay with it, since the path is on the way to the castle anyway, I will say at this point, by the time the healing and Gaharis, you make sure that the elk eats, which they do enthusiastically and take a few snaps at your fingers, but they, other than that, take the rations and just gorge themselves almost instantly, and then lay their head back down. Graz and Israel, you catch up at about this point as Utaka is bowled over by their aunt and Gaharis is attempting to feed the carnivorous elk without losing a few fingers in the process.
Did you guys get held up or something?
Huh?
I just thought you might have used the magic on her by now.
Well, like, I was going to, but, like, Tails is coming and he said he was gonna have scrolls, so, like, why should I waste my shit, honestly?
Okay, that was
Israel
weird
looks
defensive.
incredibly unconvinced by that and a little disappointed. And she looks to Griaz and said, like, do you want to use one on the elk person who was injured in the middle of the forest?
I got a few extra ones. I don't mind. It'll probably save y'all from losing a pinky to that thing anyway. Yeah, I'll pump a dispel magic. That's what we determined works, right? It wasn't remove curse, it was dispel magic.
It was
I believe you
dispel
guys,
magic.
yeah, you guys did dispel magic, yes. So
Okay.
I believe, I always forget, is it you roll or I roll? I know what you need to roll, just forget who does it.
I roll. It is, the DC is 10 plus the spell's level.
Yes, so go ahead and roll.
Okay. I'm gonna use an advantage because that's fucking not one. Okay, that's better. So what is my spell modifier is +3, so that is an 18.
Griez, as you approach the elk, you can see it's, whether it's the seeing it in the daylight makes it more obvious, or simply hunger has taken its toll on the creature. It's borderline shrink wrapped. You can see its ribs and bones clearly, and it's too weak to do much more than give a pitiful droning whine as you approach it, and you cast your dispel magic. As the energy flows through you and into the elk, you thankfully do feel it take hold. And as the Children of Red Sight magic is dispelled from it, the elk's form begins to crack and mutate and shift, the limbs thickening and going inwards. Um, uh, the grayish fur of the elk being replaced with the long brown hair, and gradually the uh, person beneath the elk that Villanova had transformed is revealed. Human with tan skin, long brown hair, and still wearing the green cloak they had been wearing. With Utaka, for what it's worth, you can see the two silver daggers that you had recognized them with, still in their belt. And as they look up, at all of you. Their breathing is shaky and stuttered, and they look to you, Griaz, as the closest person to them, and what happened?
Hey, nothing good, but it's all better now. We're fine. How you feeling?
I'm starving.
Can you
Yeah,
stand?
it's fair.
Hey, it's Reggie, right? Just so you know, their name's Reggie.
Yes, and Israel, at your
She'd offer also her arm to like help them
Yeah.
stand up.
and Israel, as you try to help them to their feet, they nod and take your arm, but their face kind of goes slack, and they seem completely unable to stand, and hold onto your arm for support as their legs limply hang, and they wince and lay their head on your shoulder and just
Is it
Hey,
pain
Rich,
or
take
can
it
you
easy,
not
bud.
feel them?
I don't know if it's the hunger, but I can't feel my legs.
She'd help lower them back down to the ground for then looking to the paladins for some medical attention, or to Griaz, any of the people who clearly have more medical experience than she does.
I think Ivron gave them a once over when we found them, and what I think Ivron's medicine check was, and what he conveyed to us was like no amount of magic that we have can repair the damage to their legs immediately.
What everyone was able to gather was Villanova had torn something out, presumably to use it as paint, and in the process tore out something vital.
Yeah, like the muscle. Or something like that. I don't think that there is, I will lower my voice, that there is anything we can do for them. What I can do is I can set them on Nathan and have Nathan bring them back into town.
I know where they need to go.
Can you send Barry with them?
Yeah.
I mean, you could tell Nathan if you don't want to send Barry away.
Hey, Reggie, you want to go back to Valio, right?
Yes. Are they all right? Are they safe?
Yeah, they were fine. He was like worried about you, but like we can get you back to him. The problem you got going on right now, we can't fix that right now. Like I don't know. Is there a better way to say that?
There are many peoples that we still have to help, like we have helped you transform back.
We're gonna get you help, Reg.
You are important.
Best thing you do right now is go get some rest and get something to eat.
They kind of shudder, and you get Israel. From what you can feel with their body pressed up against you, you get the impression that they're trying to move and just can't, and finally just fall into the snow, holding themselves up by their arms, and just give a shaky, silent nod. Just get me to Valio, please. Their faces contorted, and they seem like they're about to be sick.
Yeah. If they will allow me, I will pick them up very gingerly.
They allow it, and hoist their arms over your shoulder to support themselves. And
I'll like cut. Oh god, it's gonna look so ridiculous. I will pull out my silk rope, which is a bunch of handkerchiefs from the realm of
clowns.
Nightmare.
Yeah, clowns.
And cut off about like 10-15 feet of it so we can help tie them onto Nathan so they don't fall off.
Okay.
on their way back to town.
All right. So you set about getting Reggie onto Naden, and Utaka helping to tie them down so they don't fall, and they grip Naden, a little disconcerted by the horse, but more focused on their pain and hunger and
It's just a normal horse.
um, in the meanwhile, Ivran, after you conclude your report with Dr. Tails and start to set out, you can hear Dr. Tails walking along behind you. And would you mind if I accompanied you? I suppose it's a good a time as any for me to ensure that I'm actually capable of helping these people. I don't doubt that I can, but I would rather everyone be there to test it in case of potential unforeseen consequences.
Absolutely, Doctor. I would prefer it.
Well, lead the way. And they, with how kind of cavalier they are, you get the impression they know where to go and just like are letting you lead to be polite.
Ron will lead to be polite to him, trying to be polite to Ron.
The circle of politeness continues.
As the two of you walk, Detective Mistra was happy to hear that you were safe and wanted to extend congratulations at bringing in the artist when so many have failed before.
Well, thank you for that message. It was no easy feat, but hopefully we'll be able to clean this mess up.
Of course.
How is she doing?
She's doing well. Overworked, but Lord Els intends to return to Valebright soon, and Mistra intends to check in with all of you and potentially even attempt to help in any way she can. She intends to check in on the field teams in the coming days and ensure that the investigations are going well.
It's good to hear.
She seemed quite pleased at potentially being able to see you out in the field.
Yeah. Well.
Yes,
Good.
of course. Tail seems just as awkward about it, but is trying, like, trying to be as communicative and nice as he can. If you don't mind discussing business, Captain Blackmont, I was curious. Your friends were asking questions quite rapidly, so I wanted to get your thoughts in a more collected manner. Do you truly believe that there's a chance that the priest might be returning?
I can't say for sure, for certain. I am not as well adept as you are in the magical arts, but I do believe in some way they have returned. And I think at this point he would describe the painting of the forest and how I think it's, you said that the dragon was looming over
Yeah,
Gaheris.
flying overhead with Gaheris raising their sword up.
Yeah, so he would describe seeing the dragon in a painting and some of the iconography that they've encountered with the dragon. So it certainly does seem that the artist believes that the dragon has returned, and I don't doubt her.
And what do you suspect Villanova was referring to with the tower? The whole way into containment, it's all they could talk about. It's all they were thinking. The tower was about to fall and that they would not survive.
Well, I was hoping to ask you. from what I gathered, the tower is, it could mean destruction, a turning point in events. It could mean liberation. There's a variety of things that were described to me, but who won't survive is more concerning to me. I think that the event at this point is something that we can't change or ignore. The wheel, as she put it, is in motion.
Indeed, she mentioned that as well. He kind of thinks for a moment, and you and your team know that I am something of an adept myself with spellcasting. Divination is not something I am a stranger to. This is somebody who sees many futures and this is purely speculation on my part. Speculation that I already know I'm going to give you. But take it with a grain of salt, and I just thought you would be best suited to the information. Villanova, the artist, strikes me as somebody who is seeing many futures, but is expected to be the conduit that creates them. The artist has been a member of the organization for a long time. Whatever it is they believe, whatever deities they follow, has poisoned their mind beyond what I would expect is beyond salvation, although they spoke quite highly of the Hierophant, which I imagine refers to you.
I'm not sold. It could be Geharis for all I know.
That being said, we have no intention of harming them. We have denied them anything that could be used to make so much as a paper mache. And with your report, we'll be able to adjust restrictions as needed. But the reason I'm telling you all this is, while your friends are right that divination is to be taken with a grain of salt, as futures can always change, this is an unusual case where the prediction itself could be what creates the future she sees. I know a lot of what's coming, but I'm careful with what I share because telling you could alter the course of events, potentially for the worst, most likely, in fact. I've seen many possible outcomes of coming battles, and doing what I do as it stands is the safest course of action in most of them. She is somebody who does not have that training, that restriction. Her mind isn't prepared to see what she sees, and all she can do is focus it. And that's what concerns me, is just as there is no wand without a wizard, there's no hexblade without a warlock, there's no cross, I suppose, without a cleric behind it. If she is indeed simply the conduit for a greater force, I have to wonder what that greater force is. If she is the wand, then where's the wizard?
He did keep referring to, and correct me on this, Matt. I think the wheel of fate or wheel of it was the wheel
Yeah,
of
the
fate,
wheel.
right? Yeah. And I think you actually gave us a description of how there's like, I think maybe you said 6 or 8 spokes, or maybe I'm just imagining that. But Devron would just go into saying,
that was a theory you guys had. You have not seen the wheel yet. Yeah, Tails gives a nod, and I see. Then, for the time being, I suppose this will be keeping me busy. I'll do what I can for the people in this village. I will help Mr. Mistlequill investigate the artist's abilities. Since you brought them in alive, we will see if the research team can potentially make their abilities of use to you. But after that, do you think your brother's advice is worth heeding, that I should not head to Amelia City on my own? I'm willing to take your advice on board. Detective Mistra trusts you, and thus so do I. I've not known her long, but she's a smart woman, perceptive when she needs to be. And if I hadn't seen her make mistakes occasionally, I would suspect her of being something of a diviner herself, with how perceptive and responsive she can be. So, if she trusts your judgment, then I will as well. If you think that Amelia City is dangerous for me to go alone, then once my work and ground is done, I will return to Valebright and see what research I can make on this wheel. Perhaps I can wrangle a straight answer out of the woman.
That's the hope. And I do agree with my brother. I don't think that you should go alone. For while Mistra trusts me, I too trust my brother.
Very well. I'll take your advice on board then. And can we count on you and your team's help if the priest indeed is returning? It took armies to beat them last time, and I don't imagine it'll be any easier the second time around.
I think at this point, Ron does stop, and looking in the direction that I think the party is in, he does take a moment and turns to Tails and says, "Yes, you can count on us."
Thank you. They kind of stare up at the sky, and you can almost get the impression that their minds kind of just distantly traveling for a moment, and they kind of smirk a little bit and just, unfortunately, with something that massive, I can't simply shove it into a demiplane and forget about it. There are some threats where even I need to strategize, take caution. I can't know the outcome of a battle I have to fight in that way. Too many variables.
Take your word for it.
It's good to know that you'll be on our side. If nothing else, you and your team have a knack for survival. In all the different futures of all of this that I've seen, very, very few resulted in your deaths. Few, but not none.
Well, then I shall not pry. And Iran will give him a bow.
Good man. I don't keep these secrets lightly, but if I tell you, then it won't happen. That being said, I don't think there's much need for us to walk the rest of the way if you'd rather not.
I mean, at your leisure, sir.
Ivron and Tails appear before all of you at the place in the path. Ivron, you have, because I think this is the first time Tails has directly transported any of you.
No, he stole me.
Yeah. So Ivron, you have that same like pull in your stomach, almost like going through an elevator, and actually kind of stumble a little bit as Tails, for his part, just smoothly stands, his cloak billowing very slightly as he and Ivron appear before all of you. And just apologies. The report took longer than expected. A lot of it was simply trying to parse the artist's ramblings and deem what was useful out of all of it. That being said, I believe there is a castle somewhere around here.
There is.
Is the woman still, or is Reggie still there, or did they already leave?
I think we would have sent them out off by this point, like on Naden.
Yeah, so Naden carefully heads off with Reggie in tow to return to ground. And with that, if you guys are good, you may start heading through the forest.
Sounds perfect.
you make your way through the dark, snow-covered trees of the forest, and following the path you had taken, you all can see the just deep crater where the castle had been, um, filling up now with snow, and gradually refilling. But you imagine there might be a small pond there once the snow melts. um, and is there anything you guys would like to do as you and Tails head towards where the castle was last left?
I would like to do something on the way that I don't think I don't know if any of us have done this around him, but I would like to somewhat surreptitiously cast Detect Magic and see if he gives me that same static that Mistra and the red slate people do.
You cast Detect Magic and, yeah, again, surreptitiously, carefully glance towards Tails. And you get a lot of
I
magic.
expected that.
It's over. We actually blink and have to kind of like shake your head a bit. It's actually mostly divination magic, although you get a little bit of pretty much everything. But divination is particularly strong on him. But you do not see any Children of Red Sight magic.
Okay. I don't think I'll share that yet, but it makes Utaka like kind of like shake his shoulders and rest a little easier.
Anything else from anyone before you arrive at the castle? Okay. Traveling in a group, Israel and Nutaka, you had not seen what became of the castle. So as Gaheris, Griaz, and Ivran lead you all, you continue through the forest and you come to the parts where the trees are crushed, bent, or outright uprooted, and see, thankfully, the castle is where you left it. And you all see the windows broken, the house otherwise repaired, but the windows still broken, and the chandelier hanging loosely from the balcony that you all had jumped from.
I think that there are many people inside that may need our help.
There are, mostly in the basement.
We did not check out the basement, unfortunately. We were making a mad rush to get the painter.
There's at least the castle itself, the chandelier for certain, multiple suits of armor, the rug. Pretty much anything that came alive in there has the potential to be a person trapped as an inanimate object.
Do we need to deal with them before we deal with the castle, or should we do the castle first?
Perhaps it may be a good idea to have the castle walk to its rightful spot before we dispel it.
Will it listen?
It listened when I said, please don't crush me.
Sure, but that's like a truce. You're asking it to obey you. I think that's a little different.
You
We're
would think
just
it would
asking
want to
it
go
to
back
do
to
so.
where it was, though. Sorry. What were
No,
you
no,
saying?
I mean, I'm just saying, it's still the prince, isn't it? I mean, it still has a level of sentience. Just ask nicely.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure the prince would want his castle to be back where he left it as well. Presume it was built there for a reason.
Did we get the feeling that the prince is the castle, or the prince is the chandelier and there are two separate entities?
You aren't certain. Although I will say that, Ivran, you would have noticed this the most, although Gaheris, you and Griaz would have seen this too. It did seem like the house's emotions corresponded to the chandelier's reactions. So I'll say it stands to reason that the chandelier is more of the conduit through which the house is given life, but you aren't certain.
Okay.
Well, despite that, we don't quite understand it. Speaking in a language. Did you catch it, Harris?
I do not speak that language. I assume it is that one that Utaka has been known to do.
I've
It
heard
is,
some
like, very
primordials or some elementals saying it before, but I never picked it up.
Oh, that one. Yeah. Well, we could try. She looks to Taka like.
Yeah, he shrugs. It's called primordial, just so you don't like sound like a dumbass next time you talk about it.
That is good to know.
Look at that look for Grias. Israel absolutely like did this motion when she saw that and was like, I'm not saying anything. Also not laughing. And she just looks at Utaka and is like, do you? Then she offers the floor to him.
How far are we from this castle? Like,
You
what?
guys are like standing in front of it at this point.
Exactly. She's inviting you. Do you want to do the talking? Like,
I mean, like you're gonna know it too, right? Oh, look over at Tails. Like, if this guy is anything like Melvin, and he assumes he is something like Melvin, he's gonna know a shit ton of languages.
Tails kind of raises an eyebrow at all of you, but gives you a nod, Utaka, and I will understand it, but I will admit my people skills are somewhat lacking. I think you and your team would be better suited to convincing. And you're under the impression this is Prince Adam Fishburne?
Yeah, I'm pretty good with people.
Then he gives a bow, and in his hands appears a small notebook and quill, and he readies to just start writing down whatever happens.
How could this possibly go wrong?
Israel quickly looks to Karis. Is there anything you said before we should know about? Promises made?
Is that we would help his people, and is that we would turn them back, and is that we would be here tomorrow, which we are.
Okay, cool. And then she just gives a thumbs up to Utaka, like, you got it, man.
Yeah, he'll kind of like cup his hands by his mouth, like he doesn't know how well the castle's going to hear him, and like he'll start shouting. He's like,
Before
"Hey!"
he does,
Oh.
I'm gonna pat him on the back and give him enhanced ability to boost his charisma because, hey, but you're kind of an asshole today.
He didn't have his early morning potion, and now the day is ruined.
So enjoy some of that. Which one is sort of some of that
Eagle
Eagle
Splendor.
Splendor?
Yeah.
Got advantage on your charisma checks.
All right, his hair.
Hopefully that cuts down on the snark.
His hair whips around like a L'Oreal commercial. He looks splendid. But yeah, he'll call up. Hey, Prince, we're back. Your friend Lord Gaharis is here.
And you say this in Primordial?
Yeah.
Okay. It takes a moment. And initially, you're all unsure if there's going to be a reaction at all, but you see a very faint flicker of light in the window on the right on one of the top floors. Another one and the one on the left. And the whole castle compresses and expands as a gust of wind shoots off of the balcony again. And the lights begin to get brighter as smoke begins to come from the chimney, as the candles on the chandelier alight once more. And you all hear that again, scraping of broken glass and crystal as the chandelier's face reforms. And it looks around kind of tired and looks to you, Taka, as the one who spoke, and responds to you in Primordial. Lord.
Yeah, Lord Gaharis Nerthos. And yeah, Blackmont and Lord Ivron Blackmont.
Why are they pointing at me?
I don't know. Maybe it's part of the language. Does that say need the point?
Blackmont.
They want to talk.
And could you perhaps move any of the people inside your castle outside of the castle so we can start helping them and you.
So the vomit.
I cannot move them, but I can allow you entry. They are in the dungeons where it is safe.
He says that we can go in and get all of his people, and most of them are like in the dungeons where it's safe. Which, I mean, that's what, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good start. It's a good start.
That makes plenty of sense to me. Do we
So
need to ask?
we'll do that. Could you open the door?
The castle kind of settles and the doors open. And you can see some slight shifting from the rug in the entry hall, but while the house is sort of ambiently moving, it is seeming for the time being to allow you entry.
Team no caution, I walk in.
We also kind of wanted to.
I mean, we have some distance. I start walking.
Yeah, and Israel's just like, I'm gonna follow him, make sure,
Yeah,
and
uh,
we're gonna start moving them out. And that's like what she's signing to you, and she's like following him inside.
I'll keep him busy. I don't know. Okay. Hey, we were kind of wondering, after we get them out, do you want to, like, go back to where your castle's supposed to be? Like, did you like it there? Was it a nice view?
You fix me.
Yeah, we're gonna fix you. 100%. That's, like, top of the agenda. Prince, Sir...
There's a pause, and Geharis, as you approach the front door, you can actually feel yourself getting like pulled in a little bit as they deeply inhale. And Utaka, in response to you again, still in primordial.
Lord. Yeah, okay. Yep. Lord. So we're a little worried if we do it here, this is where your castle's, like, gonna be. So if you want it to be where it was, we might want to move first.
Very well.
Okay, but, like, not now. Like, please don't start going. We get the people out first.
Empty the dungeons.
And lean over at Ivram. I think this is going really well.
Utaka, when you don't immediately respond or move after they say empty the dungeons, again, Geharis, you and Israel both feel that like sharp intake.
Yeah, they were like,
yeah, I mean, at that point, I'm just gonna keep walking towards the dungeons.
exactly. We got it. We're commencing now.
And Utaka, they yell, and Israel, as you get closer to the door, it's deafening as you hear this in primordial. No!
We're going! Sorry! I'll, like...
At the we're going, hurry, I will literally start.
No, that
booking
was
it
in
down.
primordial.
Oh, never mind.
I mean, like, I was talking to him. But, like, I swapped back to comment. I'm like, we gotta, like, he's not happy.
Got it. Cool. And she's like,
Skedaddle.
go down.
Yeah,
the
just
quickest
book
path we're
it.
down is what they're both gonna find.
Yeah,
If
book
Ron
it. I
will
mean, we can
follow.
throw them all in the bag of holding, and then, right?
They don't... They're in... Yeah, they're objects.
Yeah.
They don't need to breathe.
Yeah, just throw them in and then dump them out.
If
Ron
they're
will wipe his
objects,
feet
I'm not
before he
entirely
goes
sure
in.
they are.
Yeah, I mean,
They're
I've been running into the
constructs.
assumption it's like a polymorph spell, mixed with like a animate object spell, so they take on the qualities of what they are at the time.
Well, and anyway, we're not gonna be in... It's not a huge estate. It's like a...
That's true.
It wouldn't take us longer than 10 minutes to get them in the bag and get out and then let them free, right?
Yeah. But I guess that depends on Matt. Do we, once we get in the dungeons, do we expect that? Or are they immediately all going to go hostile and we have to lure them out and then rope-a-dope them around this building as they chase us while Tails dispels magic on them one by one? Like, how do you want to go about that?
Got some Benny Hill music playing.
Fantastic. like a great cartoon montage.
It's just Harris crying, like, why?
You silly people.
Literally, we're gonna get in the dungeon and be like, roll initiative.
No.
Chat heard that. Chat heard that. That is legally binding.
You wouldn't lie to us as our friend and GM.
On a relationship that is built 100% on trust.
Don't do this to me. All right, so just to be clear, are you guys just going to head straight downstairs?
Yep.
Okay. All right. You guys enter, and once again, you're in that canvassed entrance hall with that slight tint of color to it. This time, rather than going straight upstairs, you start to head down. This being where the rug in the entrance hall actually goes. And you can feel it shift slightly beneath your feet as you go. And going downstairs from in what you understand to be the equivalent of a mouth traveling along a tongue gives you the unsettling feeling of being swallowed. The stairs travel downwards. You almost immediately start to feel very claustrophobic. The walls start to get narrow. And the trails of paint continue, but you start to just get this really like claustrophobic, narrow feeling. Some of you like actually like feeling like you have to struggle to breathe. The tunnel gets tighter, the stairs continue to wind down. And it is pitch black down here. But I will say that though I believe pretty much all of you can see in the dark. Is there anyone who can't?
It's me, your boy.
Yeah, all right. So, Utaka, it is pitch black down here.
I do have 30 feet of blind sight, so I will not be bumping into walls, but I can't like see ahead of us.
Okay.
Don't worry, I've got like 200 something feet, 210 feet or something ridiculous.
I've got 60
feet of dark vision.
Yeah, so you'll know when
like
something's
I have
coming.
devil's sight. Like I can see pretty much everything. I think 120 feet of full vision.
Would anyone like me to light the way?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Ron pulls out his sword and he uses his light bearer.
I don't know what's going on with my ring, but it's not like making light anymore.
Did the spell run out?
It's not supposed to. I don't think it does that. I don't know. Might just have to like recast it or something.
As you all continue down, the walls continue to narrow, but thankfully the downward spiral is broken up now by a stone hallway. Although you can see more stairs at the opposite end going further down. But in this hallway you're in, you see a pair of doors, or rather a pair of doors on each side. Although the closest door to you on the right appears to be barricaded, latched tightly shut. So you see 4 doors on either side of you, and the stairs continue to go down. Israel, you're the first one to spot this. You notice the hallway has a kind of almost tilt to it. Like as you kind of look to the stairs behind you and the stairs in front of you, you almost get the sensation that it's like you're still even in this hallway traveling down just at an angle that makes you able to stand up relatively straight. But you have to kind of like put the weight on your toes. It's kind of that weird going downhill sensation.
Yeah. Who the hell made this place? Who was the architect?
I am sure that there are many books in the library about it. So you said there were 4 doors right near us?
Yeah, 4 doors in this hallway, and then directly ahead stairs continue to go down.
I'm going to check these doors.
All right, I'll continue down and see if there's any more down there.
Harris, do you want the goggles? You can kind of like see through the doors a little bit.
I don't mind, but I wouldn't. It wouldn't hurt to have someone here with me, just in case.
I'll hang out. Yeah.
I don't want to just reach over and slightly rattle one of the doorknobs, see if they're locked or not.
You kind of experimentally rattle them. They do appear to be locked. But as you're rattling them, you feel the knob kind of give way slightly, and the lock is undone.
I think he's helping us.
Oh, that is very, very nice of some. I will go to the door opposite Utaka. Try the doorknob.
If Ron will go with Israel if they're going alone. So
Yeah, they're heading down the stairs to go see if there's any more doors down there, or if this is it.
no one should go alone.
Okay. And Utaka and Gaharis, who's going to open their door?
I will.
Yeah, I will pause because I assume he's gonna just do the Gaharis thing of
kick down the
charging
door.
into danger.
Yeah, I will say that I have my shield and sword out. Because that is pretty on brand for charging in.
Mm-hmm.
Gaharis, make me a strength saving throw.
I would love to. That's a +10 base save. Okay, that's a 28.
Okay. Gaharis, as you open, you said you're going for the door on the right?
Yeah, whatever one was opposite Utaka.
Okay, so yeah, you go for the door on the right that's not barricaded. Israel and Ivran starting to head down the stairs. And as you pull the door open, again, feeling that same, there's resistance, but then it's unlocked. As you open it, you immediately get, you hold your footing, but you immediately get blasted with this powerful gust of wind. And you have to maintain your footing or you would have gone stumbling and been knocked away. And it blows out past you, and you have to fight to hold your footing as all of you can hear just wind blowing up the stairs, down the stairs, all through the hallway as the gust disperses into the hallway and stairs before dissipating.
Is there anything inside the room?
I will say that as you manage to kind of stumble and maintain your footing, Utaka, even you're while you didn't have to
I think I probably hit the deck when that was happening because I didn't want to get flying.
but yeah, so all of your hairs have been blown back, but Garrus was the only one who had to roll. You do see a room on the other side of the door, Garrus, but we will get to that next time as the house, as you've run into one of potentially several booby traps in this house. And that is where we're going to end tonight's session.
No!
Betrayal!
I knew it was too easy. All right. Well, it has been...
us.
Yeah. A few booby traps won't defeat us.
I'm so glad. I didn't think I'd get to use any of this stuff.
Yeah, we're like, guys, let's just beeline to the top. Matt can't hurt us there.
Oh, I heard you pretty good, I think.
Yeah. But it has been an absolute delight to have you all here tonight. As every Friday, I love you all deeply and sincerely. Uh, so I want to hear some things from all of you, like who you are, where people can find you, and maybe some cool projects that you've been working on. My name is Graham or Graham Crackers, and you can find me here every Friday and every Tuesday, and soon to be every Monday. Every Tuesday, I DM two campaigns that switch off and on, Shards of Anarian and Anarian's Rest. Next Tuesday will be Anarian's Rest, starting at 7:30. On Fridays, I am in the Goldshine Investigation game with the lovely cast you see in front of you. Outside of that, every other Saturday, you can find me on Polished Cryptids channel, where I play a variety of TTRPGs. Right now, we are playing These Strong Hands, which is a very 80s inspired, kind of more freeform game, DM'd by the wonderful Paladin Hulk. Outside of that, you can find me on a variety of other networks, such as the Games Tavern, or occasionally on Friends Who Roll Dice, or on Marefeather, or Eva Serrates occasionally. But check them all out, they're wonderful. Or you can find me on Twitter, where you'll see the vast majority of projects I'm in, which is Graham Crackers with a Z, 1. And, I'm going to pass on the torch. Tell me more. Like, what games you're in. God, that was bad.
It's okay. I guess I will go. I was Matt, your DM. I played everyone who wasn't the party. I was the house. I was the wizard. I was the artist. I was a lot of what I hope is very fun characters. If you enjoyed my DMing here and want to see more like it, check out my Tuesday streamed game of Black Ink and Blue Blood on the Odd Tornado Productions Twitch and YouTube channels, live at 9:30 on Tuesdays Central Daylight Time, taking place in Gaheris and Yvonne Blackmont's homeland. As the party is actually currently helping a rebellion led by Yvonne's daughter. So that's fun. A little bit of a first for everyone here. I will also be starting 2 new games, one of which will be streamed also on the same Twitch and YouTube channels. We're going to be resuming the first streamed game I ran and finishing that story off, also taking place in the same campaign setting. So maybe if you pay attention, you'll see some fun nods to these characters and stories here and there. And I am planning to start putting together a party for a paid game I'm planning to run. Currently getting some story and things set up, but if that sort of thing interests any of you, feel free to message me. It'll be taking place also in the same setting, but far in the future, as fantasy is beginning to dwindle, as modern technology begins to supersede it, and adventurers are becoming irrelevant. Um, uh, Other than that, if you want to see more of my writing where crits and disadvantage don't matter, check out my webcomic Undercommon on Tapas and Webtoon. I'm currently working on getting back to it with a new chapter where I'm hoping to start introducing some animations to the project. I've been practicing that sort of thing, so I'm looking forward to that. And if there's anything I forgot or anything that you just want to see more of me or other people I get to work with, like these lovely folks, check out Odd Tornado Productions Official on Tumblr, where we have links to all the different stuff we do. And that's it from me.
Well, gee golly whiz, I think I'll go. I'm Pharaoh. I played Utaka today. Sorry to everyone for that. You can catch me here every Friday. You can also catch me 2 Tuesdays from now on this here channel, the wonderful, the one and only, the Graham Crackers, for the Shards of Anarian, where I play Sunra Stuttermain, a Leonin paladin warlock, as we delve into the Underdark beneath a cavernous dwarven city and go to slay a wizard. Who definitely doesn't know we're coming. It's gonna go perfectly, nothing's gonna go wrong. So come and watch Nothing Go Wrong in 2 weeks. Otherwise, you can find me on Twitter at Ferocious, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week.
Hello, everybody. It's me, Kari, the beloved, the one and only. You can only find me here on this beautiful channel, both on Fridays here for Goldshine Investigations, or also on Tuesdays, alternating weeks from the lovely Pharaoh. And I play
Begin to fall.
Anarian's Rest. So you should see us soon this upcoming Tuesday, right? Yes? Yes. Cool. But that's it. Those are the only places. So, be there or be square or not. I know I'm like not your parents or anything. So do what you will.
And I'm not your dad.
Well, hey, I'll go next. Hi, everybody. I'm Derek Sword. If you want to find me in more of my projects, the best place is Twitter at dsword16. I am also in Shards of Anarian with the lovely Grandma's RGM and the lovely Pharaoh. I play a Knoll Ranger named Verban. I am also the DM for Horizon's Call. It's an oceanic campaign set in the homebrew world of Damaris. We are up to our final episode, which will not be tomorrow, but next Saturday. The party has just surreptitiously leveled up to level 20, and they are going to face off against the god queen deity, the great unbeheld, the mother of krakens. Very excited. So check that out. That is 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Eva Sariot's channel. Again, that is Horizon's Call. I am also the co-host of the podcast Monster Crush. So if you enjoy monsters and learning about them and think they're like really cool and fascinating and also like a little sexy, check out Monster Crush. My co-host Heavenly and I talk about different like cryptids and creatures, and we talk about the stories behind them and also if they'd be good to smooch. So check that out wherever podcasts are found. That's it for me.
Well, I wish I was as cool as everyone else here, but unfortunately, I'm
You are.
not.
Shut up.
I'm so cool that this is the only place you can find me every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern, playing the Goldshine Investigations with our lovely GM Matt. My name is Jeremy, and I had the privilege of playing Ivron Blackmont tonight. And yeah, that's you can find me on Twitter. I go by the handle Bane Darkstride. Not a whole lot going on there right now, but who knows? Maybe in the future. That's it for me.
Oh, you know what I forgot to talk about, Jeremy? Mondays. So we are starting MMO Monday, which in either next week or maybe the week after, we are going to start playing Guild Wars 2 with a whole bunch of people that never played Guild Wars 2, or at least have experienced very little, where we will be doing a variety of stuff. Mostly it will be Jason, Jeremy, myself, our friend Taylor, possibly Kari, or Pharaoh, or any of these cast members on any of my streams that want to join us, where we will basically be playing from level 1 all the way to max level, just experiencing the game through new eyes. Because they have a cool expansion coming out at the end of this year, early next year. And we want in. Because, what good is a game if you can't fight dragons? And Guild Wars 2 is all about fighting dragons. So we hope to see some of you there, and maybe we'll start a guild. Who knows? But until next time, we are going to raid someone. We are going to raid the Free Forge. So let's go spam some Graham love in the chat and let them know how much we care about them. Until next time, stay happy, stay healthy, and take care of yourselves. We will be here soon, and we love you so much. So we are going to raid them in about 8 seconds. But we will see you next week. Mondays around 7-ish Eastern
Sick.
Standard.